Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Moltrap, and I'm going to be doing a set of games for you today. Hopefully, I'll be able to get through all of them. I think I should be able to get through all of the STX Masters Cup Finals. That's what this is going to be, and I'm looking forward to this. Basically, the STX Masters Cup is just kind of a random excuse for more games and teams pitting against each other. I honestly don't know how uh, it works in the grand scheme of things. I think it's basically just kind of like they just throw some teams into a sort of a playoff situation, and at the end they have to face STX, I believe, since it's the STX Masters Cup. And in the past there have been other teams have hosted or whatever. In any case, this is between STX and MBC, and if it's some kind of elimination style, I'm really not sure how MBC got into this final because they don't have any players anymore. And part of the evidence of that is the fact that Jaehoon is going to be playing first for MBC. He's a Protoss player, and he doesn't really play much. He's never, I don't think he's been in any individual leagues. If he has, it's only been maybe like round of 32 or something like that. He's actually going to be playing up against July Zerg, and if you don't know the format of these show matches, it's whoever wins goes on and plays the next person, and so theoretically the same person could just get 4 kills in a row and own the other team, but I don't think that's happened yet. In any case, yes, moving on. First, before I get too much into the game, though, I want to say a couple things. I've actually got several things that I want to say, but I don't know if I'll have time in this game, so I'll try and fit them in the next games if I have to. But I know, well, first of all, I want to apologize for not doing a ton of commentaries these days, even though I technically have time off. Part of the reason is that, as I've alluded to before, I'm kind of not really in a stable position right now. I don't really have my own apartment. I'm crashing at my dad's house part of the time. I'm crashing at friends' houses. So I can't be yelling at my computer at all hours of the night, which I usually would do when I have my own apartment, because then I would be disturbing people. So I kind of have to take my commentaries where I can get them, and I've also been doing some job hunting and that sort of thing. My life is a little bit weird at the moment. I've just finished a graduate degree to get a specific kind of job, and no, I'm not going to tell you what kind of job it is. If you know, please don't say. I just want to keep that on the down low. But I can't seem to get that kind of job, unfortunately, and it's not due to lack of qualification. It's just problems with the economy and what have you. So, anyway, I'm thinking of writing a book, actually. So if anyone, since the job isn't working out, if anyone knows any literary agents or publishers or anything like that, editors, let me know. In any case, so we've got this is the map Coliseum, by the way, and we've got July Zerg starting in the bottom right hand corner, and we've got Jaehoon starting in the top left hand corner, and July Zerg, interestingly enough, is actually sending his Overlord kind of towards the middle. So if he continues that direction, he may find Jaehoon in the top left, but it looks like he's curving it to the north. He was just checking for proxies, I believe. See if any proxies were being put in the middle of the map before going to check the corners check the spawns and what have you. And then we have Jaehoon going actually for a 2-gate build here, and July are going for a 12 hatchery build. So this could put July Zerg in a little bit of trouble. He's going to put down his pool next, I expect. But it still might be a problem for him if he's not prepared for 2 gateways worth of zealots. Now, he's got plenty of time. I'm not saying he's doomed or anything like that. He's got the time to get prepared for this, but he's going to need to do something here pretty quick if he's going to be prepared, because there's going to be zealots heading towards his base in just a minute. And he's going to have to get something down. He's not going to have lings out quite. He might barely be able to get lings out, but I think he's probably going to have to somehow find this, anticipate it, and maybe get a sunken down or something like that, because it's not going to be good for him. Even if you know it's coming, it's still difficult to fend off mass zealots with Zerglings alone, especially if they can get massed up into a group of 3, 4, 5 or more. And July's are going for another hatchery. In his third base, you're going for a massive econ build here, and I'm not sure if he's going to be prepared for this. Jaehoon massing his zealots in the middle there. I think probably when he has those 3, he'll probably move out. But it's hard to say. Uh, he may decide to mass more because part of this build is that, yeah, there's the 3. And part of this build is that if you just send in the 1, then they'll be expecting it, and then they'll build defenses. So it's actually much more powerful if you have a few zealots gathered together. And so that's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't want to reveal his hand until he has at least a few zealots there. So now 3 zealots coming in here. Jelizerg is going to spot that with his Zergling. He doesn't quite have enough Zerglings at this point in time. This could be very disastrous for Jelizerg. He's probably going to start pumping Zerglings out of his 3 hatcheries. He's building a colony up at the top, and it looks like he's actually canceled that hatchery, that 3rd hatchery. Wise move by him. So yeah, he's building colonies at actually both of his bases. If he can hold off those zealots long enough to get those colonies built, this may be advantageous for Jelizerg, actually. Surrounding those zealots with drones. Beautiful drone micro there. Just basically screwing up the AI of the zealots while the drone with the drones. While he gets his sunken colony up. The sunken colony is going to go up his main, one going up in his natural as well. So if he can get those going up, then he'll just have to focus on protecting those with Zerglings. He did lose a few Zerglings that exchange. Zealots coming up. Oh, nice. Couple Zerglings coming out just in time to block for that sunken colony. Beautiful, beautiful timing. I mean, obviously it wasn't choreographed or anything, but it just worked out really well for Jelizerg. And there's the hero coach, I think, looking a little bit perturbed by this turn of events. Jaehoon persisting with the 2 gates here, finally putting down a Cybernetics core. And Jelizerg, it looks like he's going to try and counterattack. He's got some Zerglings heading towards Jaehoon's base. He's going to probably try and do some probe damage. He knows that most of his zealots are back out at his own base. So Jelizerg is hoping he can squeeze in something there and get a couple. If he can pick off some probes, that would basically clinch the game for him. Here he is going in. Looks like he's actually going to use try and use the fact that those zealots are nowhere in the area to try and take down one of these gateways. If he can take down a gateway, that would be pretty good too. But I think he should really try and run by and kill off the probes, although I guess what he's feeling here is if he can just pick off all of the production buildings, then he'll be able to accomplish more. A lot of Zerglings being pumped out here for Jelizerg. They're kind of gathered up now. I guess that's probably actually all mostly a result of when he was in a little bit of trouble. He was probably pumping out lings from both his hatcheries, all of his larvae. So he had those around anyway. So a lot of zealots here stacked up. So it looks like things have pretty much equalized now. Jelizerg has held off this kind of 2-gate rush, and so things have kind of evened out, I guess you could say, in a sense that they're both now deciding to advance toward. And oh my god, Jelizerg, he's sent out all those Zerglings. I didn't realize he'd sent them out of his base. He's going in for a major attack here. He's actually picking off a lot of zealots. I thought those zealots would hold off a little bit better, but unfortunately Jaehoon has separated his forces. He pinned them up against his gateways so that they couldn't be completely surrounded, but part of the result was that some of his zealots were cut off from the others. He wasn't able to concentrate his forces there, and it looks like Jelizerg, Jaehoon cannot bring his zealots out from behind those gateways because then they'll get picked off. So Jelizerg is just free to just pick off this gateway. That gateway is going to go down. It's going to completely open up that door. One cannon is going in, but I think Jelizerg may be able to rush in there and kill off the cannon. Jaehoon's going to have to bring off probes to try and block for that cannon so that cannon can come in. The tables have been completely turned. Jelizerg was barely trying to get his Zerglings out to block for the Sun colonies while they came in. And in this time, Jaehoon having to bring probes and zealots try and form a blockade to block for those cannons while they come in. Kind of the converse thing going on there. So Jelizerg not quite able to break in there, unfortunately, and not able to do a ton of long-term damage. He took down one gateway. He took down a lot of probes, and now he's sneaking the Zerglings in. Those Zerglings are actually, they're not, he's not going to try and attack with them. I think he was just, Jelizerg does this a lot, actually, where he'll send in a little squad of Zerglings to try and run past to try and get a couple Zerglings in to do a scout. And so that's what he's doing here. Is he's obviously going to try and be annoying with that Zergling, try and pick off a probe or two if he can. But for the most part, he just wanted to see what Jaehoon was doing, if he had more gateways behind there, or if he was teching up, or if he was getting, working towards a Templar attack or something like that. So he knows what Jaehoon is doing now. I don't think the Zergling died. He didn't see the robotics facility, so he doesn't know that particularly is going on. But he knows that he's not going to have to worry about just a mass zealot push or a mass dragoon push or something like that early on. And Jaehoon obviously knows what Jelizerg is doing. He sent in a probe earlier, and now he's going got his Corsair, so the Corsair is going to be able to run around and see whatever it needs to see here. A lot of drones. He's got a lot of drones mining now, and he's tech 2 lurkers as well. I mean, he's had that lair going for a long time, but he's also gotten his third base. It looks like he's getting an extra hatchery in his base as well. So probably going to see him start to mass up out of this, out of these 3 bases. I imagine he'll probably and then when he may get a 4th as well. But he's probably going to go for a little bit of a contain. It looks like with these few lurkers, and try and contain him in his base. Maybe expand one more time and then start massing up troops here. A few zealots getting out of his base. I don't know if GyeongNam saw. Well, I'm sure he saw it, but he didn't seem to be reacting to it. He doesn't really care at this point. A lot of times when you're contained, it's important to get forces out of your base so that they then come back in later on. And, oh, Jaehoon, very nicely done. Hold positioning his zealots in the lurker fire while they were just getting hit there, and a cannon coming in and attacking the lurker, but not before they do a serious amount of damage, taking out 3.5 zealots with relative ease. And it's a kind of ironic that those Zerglings, I think GyeongNam sent those Zerglings in to occupy the zealots, but then the Zerglings attacked the cannons, and the zealots chased the cannons, and one of the zealots actually escaped simply by virtue of the fact that it was running after those Zerglings. So, but it's nonetheless a decent attack by GyeongNam. Now, Jaehoon has 4. He has these 4 Corsairs out. It looks like I thought he was just going to power down that Overlord, but he is being at the very least annoying with these Corsairs now, flying around. He's going to pair it up with a 5th, probably a 6th as well. The fact that he has that robotics facility means he's probably going to go for some kind of a Sarah Reaver build, you want to build up as many, Corsairs as you can. Well, not as many as you can, but you want to build up a decent force of Corsairs. You probably want, 6, at least 6, maybe 7 or 8, and in the later game you want more, depending on what your opponent does in response. So he's going to be pumping out at least a couple more Corsairs. He's got the Reaver out. Probably going to see. We may see a second Reaver actually before Shuttle. Oftentimes in this kind of a build, Protoss are fine just sitting in their base and chilling and waiting for waiting while they get a decent force massed up. And Jaehoon just still continuing to try and be annoying with those Corsairs. But yeah, so he may just go off of one base, and in that case we'd see him put down, get a second Reaver out. And never mind, well, okay, while I was discussing it, he did get the shuttle out, so he can get the mobility with that Reaver. I'm not sure if he's going to want to try and push out and maybe do some harassment with that Reaver with his Corsairs, or yeah, there's the 4th base that I thought GyeongNam was take, and he's probably just going to start massing up and attacking at this point. And of course, throughout the course of the game, as the game gets longer, he'll Scourges, flight of Scourges coming in. Looks like a few hit. 1 Corsair gets taken out. 2 Corsairs get taken out, and that is critical. Oh no! What are you doing? The shuttle flies over the Hydralisks. The shuttle flies over the Hydralisks. Oh, he had a couple of zealots in there. So that worked out enough. I think that shuttle is probably going to get saved. He's going to be able to fly over a ridge or something like that. Shuttle speed upgrades just in time, actually. Able to let that shuttle escape. And he's going to try and take a pot shot with the Scarab as well. But that was close. He almost lost that shuttle there. That was careless of him. Just running the shuttle. He ran the Corsairs away, but he didn't run the shuttle away. It was running right on top of the Hydralisks. And GyeongNam, actually, I don't think was quite on top of that as much as he could have been, or I think that shuttle would have gone down. Well, GyeongNam was mostly on top of it, actually, but it doesn't look like he had the Hydralisk range upgraded yet. And so that may have stopped him from killing those guys off, too. Whoa, a ton of Scourges coming in here. GyeongNam just absolutely rabid when he's intent on taking the air. He takes the air. And we saw him do this against Best in their final game in the OSL finals, too, actually. Where, oh, run, Hydralisks, run. Oh, they get away. Looks like he might have taken some damage, but oh my, Scourges coming in from everywhere, taking out another Corsair or 2, it looked like, but Jaehoon is still building up his Corsair count, and at this rate, he is going to have critical mass of Corsairs, despite GyeongNam's best efforts. He just needs a couple more Corsairs, and it'll be, well, if GyeongNam is able to do something like he just did, come in from different angles, he's still going to be able to sneak some Scourges in, but and that is something that GyeongNam, I think, does that not many other Zergs even try to do, is surrounding with Scourges, coming in from different angles, just so lead. And it makes it's not difficult to think of, but it's for some reason a lot of Zergs don't bother do it. They probably don't have the APM maybe, the high APM that July Zerg does to try and pull stuff like that off. APM, for those of you, I know a lot of you probably already know this if you've been watching my videos, but nonetheless, I like to go back and point things out. APM is actions per minute, and it represents how many commands that the player issues to StarCraft per minute, and that it's generally a gauge of how fast of a player they are. It can be, in the grand scheme of things, it can be also an indicator of how good of a player is, but in terms of at lower levels, I guess, a person with 100 APM is obviously not going to be as good of a player as someone with 400 APM, just because it represents practice, if nothing else, and the ability to execute things, that sort of thing. So, unless, of course, the 400 APM person is just spamming, which means just hitting stuff randomly for no reason. You could set two units to hotkeys 1 and 2, and then just hit 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and you could probably get 500 APM pretty easily doing that, but that doesn't mean you're any good. Anyway, point being, July Zerg has a very high APM. He's able to execute maneuvers that a lot of players would not be able to, because when you have that high, he's got his Hydralisk bunched up. He's taking a lot of damage from these scarabs here. I'm not sure why he's engaging there. Oh, that is why, because he was sniping the Nexus. I didn't even realize he was focus firing on the Nexus. Beautiful work by July Zerg. He sacrificed a lot of Hydralisks in this attack, but he did manage to basically keep Jaehoon down to 2 bases. He was just getting that 3rd base up and running, and now it's not going to happen anymore. Wow, very nice move by July Zerg. But basically, you need a certain actions per minute in the first place to keep your macro going, keep your units going to the correct places, keep making drones or probes or whatever you're deciding to make. He's getting the MBC players, coaches, getting very excited there, seeing that the Dark Templar was actually able to sneak in and do some damage there, but that Dark Templar actually didn't last as long as it could have, running into an Overlord's range there. And a little bit of a drop going in here for July Zerg. July Zerg really taking complete command of this game, just really owning things here. And every aspect of the game, he's just controlling the action here. And I wonder if Jaehoon even has observers. I haven't seen an observer for him, actually. If he does not have observers, this could be really bad for him. And Hydralisk coming in. They might be able to snipe off. They snipe off one of the Reapers. Oh, beautiful Scarab takes out half the Hydralisks. And it looks like the Zealots are going to be able to take those Hydralisks out before they... okay, never mind. There is an observer in the area. So those Lurkers are going to get taken down pretty easily. But not before they stop a lot of mining time here. So basically Jaehoon mining only out of his main base at the moment. He's obviously going to be able to mine at this expansion again pretty quickly here, as soon as he takes care of this stuff, these Lurkers. But in the meantime, not mining very much at all. He's only mining off of his main right now, which is low on minerals as it is. And what is he doing? He's, oh my god, trying to go for a storm drop, and he wow, that was careless, I think, by Jaehoon, running his shuttle just through enemy fire and not trying to be sneaky by taking it in through the side or anything like that, just running it straight in through the middle and getting his shuttle taken out. Only one Templar got out. I think there was probably another Templar in there at least. By the way, 1-2 upgrades for July Zerg, and it looks like 0 shields and armor for Jaehoon. I'm not sure. He must have at least weapons 1 or 2 upgraded by now. I've got to assume he's got at least level 2 weapons by this point, but he may not. But anyways, yeah, failed storm drop, only getting one drone, I think, or no, 2 drones. And basically, the storm drops are the things that can bring him back into this game because he's so far behind at this point. It's ridiculous. And he needs to do something like that to try and get back into this game. And pretty badly failing at that is going to hurt his chances of getting back into the game, basically. Oh, that was a drop. Oh, I didn't even realize that the Overlords were running away, and he was actually getting ready for a drop. So I have a feeling he's still going to proceed with his drop. Yeah, I don't even know if Jaehoon saw those Hydralisks falling out of the Overlords. Scourges going in. Scourges are going to be able to chase away any Corsairs that try and engage. they're going to be able to at least occupy them. Whoa, of course there's attacking the Scourges. Scourge is going in. The Overlord's almost within range. He's not going in with the Scourges because he wants to wait until the Overlords are there so they can get their Hydralisks out. The Overlords are there. The Overlords are going to get torn apart, but the Hydralisks are dropping out. A few get taken out by Storm. Another Storm is probably going to go down here in a second, taking out one... No, not even taking out any Hydralisks. Doing a lot of damage, but still, Jelizer doing a nice little drop here. And that could have gone really, really badly for Jelizer. I mean, he could have lost the Overlords to Corsairs. He could have lost all of his Hydralisks to Storms, and neither of which happened. Jelizer just beautifully maneuvering around those bad possibilities and getting the drop off. Not doing a ton of damage, but still... most Zergs would not have been able to even get that drop off at all. Jelizer accomplishing it with great style there. Very nicely done. So yeah, Jaehoon back to his 3 bases here, but still Jelizer has a major advantage. Now Jelizer hasn't expanded in a while. He's still been going off of these 5 bases. I think that's kind of a little bit of a mistake. Given all this pressure he's been putting on, he had the leeway to expand again, but he just hasn't yet. And what is he doing? Let's drop the Reaver. And actually, that's not bad. A Scarab going off and a Storm. Very nicely done. But again, just kind of flying straight through the middle of things. Not trying to come in from the side or anything like that, which he could have done. He could have saved those units pretty easily if he'd just, come in from below, the sort of from the bottom left of that base. He could have easily dropped the Reaver outside of range of that Sunken Colony, and or gotten a couple storms off before the Hydralisks were able to catch him, or anything, something like that. Just didn't quite pull it off, and that's it's little things like that add up over time, and that's why Jelizer is pretty much going to take this game in the long run here. So a few Dragoons finally coming out here. You want to build Dragoons against Lurkers, and yeah, I think these are the first Dragoons we've seen all game, despite the fact that there have been Lurkers around. Although there haven't been a lot of Lurkers, just 2 or 3 here and there. So it hasn't been tragic that he hasn't gotten many Dragoons before this. But now that there's more Lurkers out, he's going to need those Dragoons. Storm going off on a few of the Lurkers there. Oh, he can't bunch up the... don't want to bunch... Oh, he's got his Lurkers bunched up. If a Storm goes off on those Lurkers, that would be tragic for Jelizer, but he's just got too many units in the way, though. Jaehoon falling back and not able to get a Storm off or anything like that, and Jelizer, I'm sure, is going to unburrow those in just a moment and spread them out a little bit more. Yeah, well, let's see if he actually spreads them out or not. If they're all... Oh, he's still got them bunched up there. One Storm could hit 4 of those Lurkers. A double Storm could kill 4 Lurkers fairly easily, and that's the risk of bunching up your Lurkers. It concentrates their fire a lot more, but it's a really risky thing to do against Protoss. But I guess see, that Storm killing 2 Lurkers and badly damaging a 3rd there. But I guess Jelizer at this point just feels like, who cares? I've got so much of an advantage. Actually, he has taken a 6th base. I'm sorry, he has taken a 6th base now. I'm not sure if he'd taken that when I was talking about before, but he has now. But Jelizer is completely out-macroing Jaehoon. At this point, he probably figures that, I can just Sauron and just throw units at him and it'll be fine. And Doom. This is probably a Doom drop going on there, and this may finish off Jaehoon because Jelizer is nearly mined out of his main, which means Jaehoon probably is mined out of his main, which means he's running off 2 bases essentially. Even if he has a few spots left at his main, he's running off 2 bases. This is going to cut off one of his 2 bases, so he's going to be running at basically 1 base, and that 1 base has just been half raped by, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to say the term rape. I know it's not a really good thing to say. I've been trying to cut it down, but that one slipped out there. In any case, it's been half destroyed by the previous attack, and a lot of probes were killed and forces and that sort of thing. Anyway, so now this base is completely gone. Yeah, this is curtains for Jaehoon. Any possible chance he had before is gone now. Having basically lost his base, he's just probe suiciding into the Hydralisk fire. Last-ditch, desperate attempt to do some damage here on Jelizer. Jelizer can afford to lose this base. Jaehoon has lost all of his other bases that were mining, so it's just a matter of time until he picks off this base. So Jelizer is going to take game 1, and like I said before, that means that he is basically going to go on to the next game, and I'm not sure that they don't. It's not pre-announced what the order is, so MBCGame will basically have to pick someone else now to play against Jelizerks. And like I was saying before, MBC, they just they don't have any good players right now. They just they don't. And there goes the GG. They just don't have the players at the moment. The STX has a lot of pretty good. They have a few really good players, and they have a few more good players. And so STX, I feel, is probably set to take this pretty easily because MBC has gotten rid of all their good players in the last couple seasons. They used to have Jolizer, and admittedly he wasn't doing too well when he was on their team, but they got rid of him, and now he's just soaring. And I think in interviews he has partly attributed that to the fact that he really likes being on the STX team, the atmosphere and everything. MBCGame also used to have Bisu. They got rid of Bisu because he was in a little bit of a slump. I mean, Bisu in a slump is better than most of the players they have. So, and yeah, they're trying to cheer up Jaehoon there, I guess. Maybe he's asking what happened there. But yeah, MBC has a couple good players to throw in here. They have C. C is pretty good, as long as it's not an individual league. And so he is probably going to be their ace for this matchup. Ruby's okay, even though I hate him. But I'm just not sure who else they can throw in here. Anyway, so that's game one. I'm gonna just move on to game two. Thank you guys for listening. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game two of the STX Cup Masters 2008 Finals between MBCGame and STX. And I believe what they're doing now is they're going to reveal. Jelizerk took game one for STX, so I believe now they're going to reveal who MBC is sending out to combat Jelizerk in the next game. Whoever wins stays in. Whoever loses, they send out a new player to combat whoever was in there. So basically just have to keep throwing people at the winner until you take them out. And Jelizerk is a very good choice for their number one because Jesus Christ, he just won the OSL. Here's we have his opponent there. This is the Zerg. So MBCGame has decided to send out the Zerg. Kind of a lower level Zerg player. He often plays on MBC's 2v2 team as the Zerg part of their team. At least he used to. I haven't kept on top of 2v2 much this season. But in any case, Jelizerk definitely the superior player here. In all respect, and Jelizerk very good at Zerg versus Zerg. Actually, he's been able to take out some top Zerg players in ZVZ. But Zerg versus Zerg it's a wacky matchup. So anything can really happen. So we'll see what happens. In any case, I said last game that I had a few things to say this time around. I actually don't think I'll have time to say what I was going to say more importantly, so I'll save that for the next game. But first of all, I do want to give a shout out and a happy birthday to Dara, the queen of the Turtle Terran. Your boyfriend says hello, and happy birthday to you as well. But yeah, so we're getting into a Zerg versus Zerg match here. In general, well, you know what? Okay, I will say something that I was going to say before. I get a lot of comments actually from people, and I'm not sure what that is. I guess they were listing the names of the players they expected to be in there. But anyways, I get a lot of comments from different people, and I don't always respond to them. And Cholera has been recently asking for a lot of people to kind of interact with him and that sort of thing. And I've never really gone out of my way to do that, I admit. But when people do send me comments, I realize I usually don't respond, honestly. I either usually don't get around to it, or sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll talk to them later, and I'll forget. I do respond to a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, I don't completely ignore everyone, but sometimes I just kind of forget, or I don't really know exactly what to say in response, and so. But in general, I want to apologize to people for I guess not getting back to them if you expected me to get back to you at some point. But I want everyone to know that I do appreciate when people send me PMs on YouTube or what have you. I do read every single one of them. Even if I don't respond, I have read it, and I do appreciate when people say, oh, hey, people send me their appreciation, basically, or something of that sort. So I want you to know I do actually really appreciate that, even though I don't get back to you too much. By the way, I'm watching the game here. Don't worry. It's pretty much mirror builds here. 12 pool into hatchery expansions, so there's not really too much to say at this point. But it's going to start getting heavy pretty soon here. Also, comments on my videos. Usually I'll read the comments on my videos for a few days afterwards. Usually after like 3 days, I don't get hardly any comments, so I don't go back and read the comments after they've been up for a few days. But I do go back and read the comments as well, and again, I do really appreciate when people say, thank you for the commentary or what have you. I'm not saying that everyone has to go and start doing that all the time, but for those of you that do, I want you to know that I am reading it and I do appreciate it, and that's basically the reason why I keep doing this. Is because I understand that people do appreciate what's going on, appreciate what I'm doing here, and that's the reason I kept going from the beginning. In the beginning, okay, well let's get back to the game here. Jelizerk seems to have gone down to one drone on his gas. I'm not exactly sure what that's about. Let's see. Yeah, the Zerg still has all his drones on gas, but Jelizerk only has one drone on gas. That's really, really strange. I guess he really wanted to get some extra minerals in there. Maybe be able to pump. Maybe he was low. He wasn't able to use all of his larvae, and he wanted to pump out a few more Zerglings. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but he took a couple drones off of gas and put them on minerals. Both players getting overlords at each other's bases here now. Actually, no. The Zerg does not have. I'm sorry, Jelizerk. Wait, I just saw him. Okay, Jelizerk just getting his overlord there. I think Jelizerk has sent his first overlord down to the bottom map there. But the Zerg is now moving out here. His lair is almost up, but he's moving out with a lot of Zerglings here. Jelizerk's going to have to try and defend. He's got a few less Zerglings, it looks like, so never mind, the Zerg is pulling back. I don't know why he's pulling back exactly, but he just wanted to scare Jelizerk, I guess. Maybe he saw that overlord coming in and he decided to send all of his Zerglings out so that Jelizerk would frantically make more Zerglings and use larvae that he could use for other purposes. I'm not sure. Both of them have their lairs up, and Spire's going up now. But Jelizerk's going to be a little bit behind on gas because he did delay that. It looks like what Jelizerk may have done is he may have actually produced a couple extra drones to have extra minerals coming in. Oh, maybe not. Actually, I thought he had more drones in his main. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like 7 or 8 drones for the Zerg. And there's about that many, maybe one more for Jelizerk. Oh, huge Zergling battle coming in here. And Jelizerk's forces are a little bit split up, but so are the Zergs. And Jelizerk actually running by with some of his forces here. What the heck? The Zerg. Oh, okay. I thought he GG'd, but he hit PP, which is asking for a pause in the game. I'm not sure why he decided to pause. Maybe something messed up. His mouse cord got yanked out of the back there or anything. Well, I guess I have another minute to talk to you guys after all. So like I said, I get a lot of comments and things, and back when I first started commentating, it was just kind of a thing where, heck, I'll just try it out. And the reason why I've kept doing it for, actually, you know what? I think I've been doing it for a year now. It seems like I've been doing it for longer, but it's been about a year. I started in September of last year, so it hasn't quite been a year yet, but almost a year. So the reason I've kept doing it for almost a year is because when I was first starting, I got so much positive feedback from people that it just made me feel really good about it. And even though going back and listening to my first videos, I think I sucked pretty bad. But everyone always thinks that everyone is always their own worst critic. But going back and listening to my earlier videos, I don't think I was that good. I guess I was passable, but not compared to, I think I'm a lot better these days. But the reason why I kept going and was able to get the practice in to become what I feel is I'm a good commentator nowadays is because people encourage me so much. So I appreciate that a lot, and especially those of you that have been watching since the beginning. I do appreciate that you've been sticking with me and that sort of thing, I guess. I'm sorry I don't know all the comments that much, but okay, something amusing is going on here in the booth. By the way, since this is Jelizerk, I guess I will mention actually Kuja900. He's been around since the beginning. I actually went back and I was looking at some of my old YouTube messages, and I had actually previously emailed Klazart, and so Klazart got back to me. This is back when I was just a Klazart fanboy, And so my first PMs on YouTube were from Clazart, but after that, my first PMs were from Kuja. He's always, for my entire year of commentating, hounded me about making sure that I commented the July Zerg games, since he's the #1 July Zerg fan in my fan base, I imagine. Anyway, so they're talking to July Zerg now, letting him know what's going on. I wish I knew what was going on, and I don't think I have any way of checking at this moment either. I guess I can keep rambling while I switch over to my web browser and see if I can look it up. But I don't actually, you know what, I won't do that because I don't want to spoil the rest of the games for me. If I start looking at results, trying to find out what happens, someone might say what happens for the rest of the matches. I have made sure to keep this unspoiled for me, so I don't know what the matches are. I don't even know who the other players are going to be in the rest of the set, because they don't pick them until one person wins or loses. So for all I know, July Zerg wins 7 times in a row. I honestly have no idea at this point. Anyway, I guess I'm having plenty of time to talk here after all. Funny how that works out. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to have time to say anything, so let me get into this real quick. And now I've got a ton of spare time. In fact, I may end up just cutting this out, depending on what happens, but we'll see. I'm still using the system, which I can't really record. Okay, now they're announcing what's going on. I have no idea what he's saying, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But something's probably going to happen sooner or later. Either they're going to restart the game, or they'll unpause and go from where they had paused it, depending on the situation. I guess theoretically, if maybe the Zerg had technical problems that prevented him from defending the Zerglings, then they may go back. I'm not sure. Or if something is permanently messed up. Yeah, they may restart the game. But oftentimes they resolve the technical issue, and then they just unpause from wherever they had started from. So we'll see in a moment. But in any case, yeah, sorry for getting all touchy-feely there for a minute. But I do appreciate it. And I've got, oh yeah, and the other thing I was going to say is that it's really cool. I think it's really cool that I talked to people. Okay, now they've unpaused, and July Zerg is in the Zerg's base trying to pick off some drones here. They've unpaused. They've finally gotten back to the game, and it looks like he managed to pick off a drone or two. But the Zerg chased him back with his own Zerglings there, and was able to chase him away from his drone line, basically. July Zerg is still trying to be annoying, trying to keep those Zerglings alive. And the moment that the Zerg is not paying attention, he'll dive in there and pick off a drone or two. And drones are just so important in this matchup. And he's driving in again. Here he goes. He might be able to pick off another drone. And it looks like he loses a Ling. It doesn't. He got several hits on drones, but I don't think he picked any off specifically. But July Zerg, unfortunately, losing a few random Zerglings in the middle of the map. They may have been there so he could know when the Zerglings were moving out. The commentators, the camera people are really showing a lot of the reactions from the teams in this matchup. This is really exciting. You'd see that all the people at this match are totally excited about what's going on. I think the Zerg has a little bit more Zerglings here, but Mulisks are going to be coming out for July Zerg in just a moment. For both players, actually, July Zerg may have made Scourges first. We'll have to see in just a moment. But if those Mulisks... Oh, the Zerg going in with a ton of Zerglings there. The Zerg has a much better position here. I think he has more Zerglings as well. July Zerg has about as many, but a few less. And a few less can make a big difference. The Zerg totally slaughtering July Zerg Zerglings here. A total, complete slaughter here. And despite the fact that July Zerg has that one Mutalisk there, I don't think it's going to do a lot of good. He's trying to run his drones out. Loses 1, 2, it looks like 3, 4. He's losing 5 drones now. And this is just absolutely catastrophic. And the STX coach knows it. This is catastrophic. July Zerg down to 4 drones here. 3 drones here. Desperately trying to hide inside the extractor, and it just does not work. Just, wow. July Zerg, for lack of a few Zerglings, just does not come out on top in that battle. And just so many Zerglings that he couldn't kill them all with one Mutalisk before his drones were killed off. And now July Zerg down to 1 drone. 1 drone mining for July Zerg. And this is pretty much going to be game because he doesn't really have much of a chance of coming back in this. He's got 1 drone mining. He only has a couple Mutalisks, and all that he needs to do is all that the Zerg needs to do is just overpower July Zerg now, because unless July Zerg can somehow manage to get in there and kill off the Zerg's drones with his couple Mutalisks, then the July Zerg is just gone in the long run. I'm not sure why the Zerg has decided to make Scourges, why not just make several Mutalisks and just overpower him? Because it's obvious Jelizer can't have any more units, basically. All he needs to do is build up... Oh, well, those Scourges worked pretty well, actually. And Jelizer's micro-failing a little bit here. Losing that there. He needs to try and cover his own base, and he needs to try and go and attack at the same time. It's just not working. And there's Diaz. Geez. Scourge is going in there. One Mutalisk left with only a few hit points left on it. 1 or 2 hits from those Mutalisks, and it's going to go down. Yeah, so that's game. There's nothing that Jelizer can do at this point. He needs to GG here. So, man, it just all came down to that one battle, and that one Zergling battle decided everything. As it sometimes does. At Jelizer, he had his Mutalisks coming out, but he didn't have any extra Zerglings coming out. There's GG. So, yeah, so Jelizer is going to go down now, and it's going to go to the next game. I'm curious to see who STX is going to send out next. Alright, thank you guys for listening. Hello, this is Moltrap. Hey, you. Yeah, you, the first person to watch this. Congratulations. You're the first person to watch this, and probably the first person to be able to leave a comment. Yeah, I don't give a crap. I said this before, but I guess it needs saying again. I hate it when people leave messages that are like, first, I'm the first comment. It's just a waste of time and space, and if you haven't noticed it, if you've ever done it before, guess what? Within a few hours, you're at like -10. On the rating of your comment, so just cut it out, okay? And if you haven't noticed it before, also, I delete whenever I see like a first comment. I hate that so much. I delete it outright, so don't even bother. And yeah, if you do it consistently, I might even ban you. There was one guy that was doing first on like every video for a whole day, and even when he wasn't first, it was ridiculous. I almost banned him, but luckily I'm a nice guy, so you get off this time. In any case, STX SouL has thrown in Huashen as their replacement for the unfortunately downed July Zerg. And Huashen is going to have to face the Zerg here. And the Zerg has his work cut out for him because Huashen is known for his TVZ. He has really, really good TVZ. Up until getting slaughtered by Jaedong, he had beaten Jaedong a couple times, actually. And oh my god! So Huashen, I think, is probably going to be the favorite in this matchup. It's going to be pretty good. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the Zerg is going to have to pick up his game a lot here. He's kind of a second-rate Zerg, and so he's not really someone that you would expect to be able to go up against Huashen. But again, this is StarCraft. Anything can happen. The Zerg did manage to beat July Zerg, although again, Zerg versus Zerg is a little bit crazy. Unless Jaedong is involved, in which case he just has it all planned out so much that it's ridiculous, but he's not here, so... yeah. Anyway, moving on. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, I gave a shout out to Kuja in my last video. Also, I was going back and looking at my first PMs on YouTube from, September or October, whatever, from last year. And actually, I didn't even realize this before, but Debivort, or that's how I pronounce it. Maybe it's Debivort or Debivort. I'm not sure how you pronounce it really, but it's a funny thing about text. It's funny when people like pronounce pro gamers' names differently. So well, Huashen obviously is a really good example, but I've been told that there's a correct way of saying Huashen's name, so I'm trying to say it the way that I've been corrected to say it. But what's another? I don't know. There's all different pro gamers that are pronounced differently by different people, and sometimes it's just a matter of where you're from. Klazart has. I always called Midas because that's what Klazart called him, because that's kind of how it seemed obvious to pronounce his name for Klazart, who's in Ireland. Even though people are always talking about Midas and the Midas touch and Midas. Let's not be commercial about this, but Midas is the way it's properly pronounced in the United States, so it's kind of interesting. Anyways, Debivor, who is now one of the one of the artists for our staff. In fact, he's been doing a lot of really, really cool banners for us in he's been doing a lot of really cool banners for various things in the forums and that sort of thing. I haven't seen anything from him recently, but part of that is because our forums crashed and we haven't really done anything with them lately. Well, I mean, we've been putting them back together, so we haven't done any like major events or anything like that in a few weeks. Also, since it's been kind of the off season, where you have these weird games like this going on. Nice fake out there by the Zerg. I don't know if you noticed that he actually, okay, well, he's got a couple Zerglings there to chase the SCV round. But sometimes the Zerg will save up their larvae so they can make a lot of Zerglings, but then they'll do a fake out and they'll actually make drones with the larvae. So sometimes they'll get the opponent to be defensive by making 3 drones at once because they expect it to be 6 Zerglings coming out. And then in this case, it was actually mostly drones that came out. So he did make a few Zerglings, though, to just try and keep that scout out. Keeping the scout out can be important. Usually Zerg versus Terran, Terran versus Zerg, they end up being pretty cut and dry as far as almost every game. You have some variation of fast expansion for the Terran and Mutalisks for the Zerg going for straight Mutalisks into usually Lurkers and that sort of thing. But the beginning game is almost always the same, so scouting is not quite as important in this matchup. You can usually expect what's going to happen pretty easily. Yeah, Huashin getting just 1 barracks and going into that command center and scouting. He's done this before. In fact, I believe he beat Jaedong doing that, or some other powerful Zerg that he was up against. Yeah, I think it was Jaedong, where he made the 1 barracks, and he kind of did it this time, except it wasn't really in danger this time, where he floated the barracks away from his front door so that the Zerg player would not be able to see with the Overlord that he wasn't making Marines with it, so that he wasn't sure how many Marines were there. And really, really good move and kind of psych out tactic there. Anyway, so in this case, though, going again 1 barracks into command center and using the scout to find out that there was nothing going on so that he knew he was safe getting that quick command center, basically. Yeah, so, but now he's putting up more barracks and an engineering bay, get some turrets going on. This is Blue Storm, in case you hadn't noticed. Blue Storm, the infamous Zerg favoring map, but this is the new Blue Storm. So those of you that I think I've mentioned it in my videos before, but the difference is that there's more space. You can see it even. Oh, nice, picking off that. Wow, targeted the SCV. He must have had sight with that Overlord on which SCV was low on health, and getting a couple Zerglings in as a scout too. Pulling a Jelizerg there, sacrificing a couple Zerglings to get in a scout there, except unlike Jelizerg, he just got him killed pretty quickly and didn't even go down here to see if the Academy was doing anything. But nonetheless, picking off a couple SCVs, and now SCV wins. Oh, SCV loses. Never mind. Poor SCV is just running home to his mom. Mommy, I killed a Zergling today, and mom's like, oh, I'm so proud of. Oh. That was the sound of the guy inside the SCV dying. Anyway, factory going down for Huashin, and wouldn't be. Huashin is the kind of some players will almost always go for SK Terran, which is going for 2 starports and trying to mass science vessels, not worrying about the tanks at all. That's pretty standard for. Well, Flash does a little bit of each, but usually I think Flash favors the SK Terran. Huashin, though, he'll go either way. Usually, in fact, I think more often than not, he goes for the tank push. You still get 1 starport, get some science vessels out. Science vessels are crucial. You need at least 1 science vessel so you can keep the Mutalisks at bay in the long game. But usually the Terrans balance their gas between science vessels and tanks. And some players like to have the mobility of just the science vessels with Meg Marines, and some players like to have the tanks along with. And it also depends on what the Zerg is doing. If they're getting lurkers, you might want to. If they're getting a lot of lurkers, you might want to get tanks out to try and shell the lurkers. Especially if they're getting a lot of sunken colonies, you want the tanks for that. If there's like 10 sunken colonies, you almost need the tanks. Anyway, there's this freaking Ruby sitting in the stands there. Well, not the stands, sitting in his team's dugout. But the Zerg doing a pretty good job of keeping Huashin in his base here, and he looks like he's going in for a major attack here. Medic Marines really bunched up nicely. They're all stimming. The Zergling's going in for a huge surround. Very nicely done by the Zerg. He's going to pick off this whole army, and see rejoicing there in his teammate's success until he realized he was on camera, I think, and then he went kind of sat back down, trying to get out of the way. Very modest. I don't really like him. I really don't dislike him. He's a really nice. He's a really well-mannered player. Is what I'm just saying. Like I've never really like kind of taken a liking to him as a player. But he's a really good guy. And from the people that met him in Paris, he's like supposedly totally nice and was really friendly to everyone, all of his foreign fans and that sort of thing. So that's cool. But that's one of the things I've noticed about him, though. Is that's kind of what I was thinking of. Is he's kind of shy. He's kind of laid back. He's the opposite of your bests and your firebat heroes and that sort of thing, who are very much more outgoing. But in any case, yeah, nice move by the Zerg. He managed to take out that force, that kind of expeditionary force. Nice surround. He really just had a lot more Zerglings, I think, than Huashin expected, and just completely surrounded that Mech Marine force. Did a lot of damage there. He is getting his science vessel out. I don't see anything researching at the science facility. So I'm not sure if it's already researched and I missed it, if Irradiator is already researched and I missed it, or if he just doesn't have the money for it just yet because he's spending his gas on the vessel. We'll have to see. Anyway, so Huashin moving out with another force here. It looks like he's probably going to try and not move out. Yeah, okay, so there's the second starport, by the way. So it looks like he's going to go for the SK Terran. He's not going for tanks this time around. We've got a Queen's Nest up, so the Zerg has map control, and that's why I was thinking that Huashin might just be posturing to take a third, because I don't think he's really in a comfortable enough position to move out here. He doesn't have too large of a force at this point. Yeah. Oh, hidden Scourges. Hidden Scourges. He's got Scourges with the Mutalisks. He may be able to dive in there. This is a really cool tactic when they do it. You group up some Scourges with your Mutalisks, then the Mutalisks run in and take any damage from Marines nearby, and that allows the Scourges to actually reach the Science Vessel. It may not work if he doesn't attack with some Zerglings at the same time, because there's a lot of Marines there. We'll have to see, but yeah, anyways, going back to what I was saying, the Zerg has a lot of map control here, and Huashin, like I said, I thought he was going to try and just secure a third base here, but he's not doing that. It looks like he's just going to go balls out with two bases here. He's got 2 gas, he's got 2 ports. He's going to start pumping out science vessels really quickly here, but the thing is it's almost a little bit late. Well, not late, but it's later than it could have been, because the Zerg is going to have Hive Tech in a minute, and really when the Hive Tech is out, you want a few goodly science vessels out with a decent amount of energy in them, that sort of thing. And he's only going to have 2 at this point once that Hive pops, maybe 3. Oh, I guess by the time any Hive Tech actually gets out, because by the time he builds the Ultralisk Cavern or the Defiler Den or anything like that, he'll have a few vessels out, assuming he doesn't lose them. Oh, what are you doing, camera people? Don't turn away from that. Go into the crowd when there's Scourges flying in the science vessel. He does use that trick, and he picks off 1 science vessel. So very nicely done. So if he can do that, and it's only the second science vessel, not the first. The first one is pretty crucial, because that really keeps, if you can get that first science vessel, that really keeps the Terran player in their base. Still, keeping the science vessel count low early on is going to be the key to the Zerg winning this game. If he can do that, if he can keep the science vessel count low, then he'll really be able to take the late game, which we're moving into at this moment. I mean, it's just, you as a Terran player, you need to conserve your science vessels. I mean, you just need them. And he actually uses an Irradiator on 1 lurker there. I mean, what else is he going to use with it, right? But there are going to be Defilers out before too long. Jesus, a ton of lurkers just all across the middle of the map. The Zerg is just completely holding this center, taking complete map control here. He is leaving, I guess. He's leaving Huashin to do whatever he wants in his half of the map, though, as part of the thing. That's not. It's not going to be terribly effective, but in the meantime, there's absolutely no way that Huashin can cross that middle. unless he gets. I mean, there's no way right now that he can do it. He needs a lot more Marines or a lot more science vessels or some tanks, and you know he's slowly irradiating some of those lurkers away, but he's not going to be able to do it fast enough. And I think what the Zerg is probably doing is Washington actually trying to move in here on the corner of this contain, try and get around the side of it. He loses a lot of Marines in the process. He's actually getting a little bit stuck on the corner of this huge clump. The lurkers are clumping up more, and the Zerg's fighting to try and keep him contained in the middle here. Washington just running right by that containment, basically trying to get around the other side, but unfortunately he is going to probably lose this force. No, he's not going to lose it completely. The Zerg backs off a little bit, but Washington has basically broken this containment. He's in a little bit of a corner with that small force there, but at least he has something to come from, theoretically, from the other side of this middle containment there. He tried to basically go on the very end, kind of the weakest end, the weak end point. And oh, Scourges coming in there. There's a lot of Scourges. Looks like they may. Oh, Washington, what are you doing? Washington, no. Washington moved his science vessels. They were running towards the path of the turrets, and instead he swerved them south. He was trying to outsmart the AI, but he just did it at a horrible angle and actually allowed the Scourges to catch up to him, which just does not help things at all. Now he's getting some siege tanks going, but there's defilers out now, and that's what I was going to say earlier. Is I think that the Zerg was basically just trying to buy time by holding Washington in his side of a base and keep conserving his army until he got defilers out. And now the defilers are out, so I guess it's a good thing that Washington disrupted that contained in the middle when he could. But Jesus, just losing those science vessels. Now he's down to like one science vessel, I believe. He has those 2 starports, but if he keeps losing vessels like that, he's going to lose the game in the long run. And again, not paying attention to this little force down here, not going to help. And at least they're there to kill some Scourges. Both players not paying any attention to their forces all over the map. In any case, yeah. So it's probably a good thing that he didn't kind of break out at all. He didn't take map control by any means, but he was able to disrupt the containment that he had on him, that the Zerg had on him. So yeah, Washington. In the meantime, it's jeez, lots of Marines going down there. So yeah, that swarm I think is going to be Washington's doom at this point. He's managed to build up 4 science vessels, so that's pretty decent. But still, he's going to be in trouble in the long run here if he keeps losing science vessels the way he has been. And if he keeps marching his Marines directly onto the path, not separating his Marines at all, he could have lost 1 Marine, 2 Marines to that attack, but instead he lost almost his entire force. Washington being a little bit sloppy here. And to be honest, this is why he lost the match against Jaedong. Jaedong fought extremely well in that match, and that's part of why, but part of it was because he just played sloppy. Washington was playing really well for the first game and a half of that series, and then just got sloppy and just started making a lot of mistakes and threw the game away, and maybe it's a pressure thing or something, I don't know. But the Zerg is definitely taking control of this game now, and Washington is just he's been making these little mistakes which he might have been able to afford to make if he had control of the game, but he's just not, nice dematrixing the Marine. Now he's finally microing. Go Washington, game micro. Very nicely done. Yeah, he's just still losing control of this, though. Oh, come on, lift it, lift it, lift it. Lift the command center. Oh, man. Washington's just not multitasking very well at this point. He's not controlling his forces nearly well enough. And look at that. Loses the command center. Completes command center, and there's only Zerglings there. He doesn't lift it. Loses the command center. And that, I mean, I'm just going to give the game to the Zerg right now because Washington's just not playing well enough to beat him right now. He's making too many mistakes and, not controlling his units well enough and, that sort of thing. I've pointed this out before, but I guess I'll point it out again at this point. Whenever I'm talking about pro gamers not playing well, I'm judging them on their own level and compared to each other, and so obviously probably beat me with his one hand tied behind his back, literally. But oh my gosh, but he's not gonna be able to beat another pro gamer at this rate. Is my point. Yeah, even when they're bad, they're still really good, yes, but that doesn't mean they're not doing badly in terms of what they should be doing and what they're capable of. Washington is capable of so much more than this, and he's just kind of throwing this game away. It looks like STX is going to go down 2-1. And it's really unfortunate that basically one of their worst players is going to be taking 2 games for MBC, and that, I mean, that's optimal in this kind of a clan war style game situation. It's optimal. You want your basically your lesser players to get a game or two, so that then when they inevitably lose to someone finally, your big gamers, oh my goodness, the Plague Science Vessels 2 go down before the Mutalisk gets taken out. Oh man, this game is just hilarious now. But yeah, so whoever STX throws in next, STX, they've been throwing in their good players hoping for multi-kills here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they throw in Cal, although they may want to conserve him. They may throw in someone else like Best God or who else is on STX? STX has a couple other good players that might be able to go in there. Anyway, but yeah, so, but MBC still has their aces in the hole, though. They still have C. Ruby, despite being a jerk, is still a decent player, and so they still have him lying around. So both of those players could be put in, theoretically, for MBC to try and wipe things up. C, I mean, even if they put in Cal, who I have to believe would beat the Zerg, C has a good chance against Cal, for instance. He's a pretty good Terran versus Protoss player, so he might be able to take that on. We'll just have to see how it goes, I guess. Yeah, Plague has gone off on all of Wash's science vessels at this point, by the way. So one more Mutalisk could easily, or if you got 3 Mutalisks, they could easily just dive in there. And see, that's what that Mutalisk is doing. He's waiting for the opportunity to dive in and kill off those science vessels, 1 hit each. I think I'm not sure how the upgrades work. Yeah, no, I think actually with the glaive, he may be able to take out 2 science vessels at a time, depending on how the bounce goes. But usually the bounces go onto the Marines or something like that. But anyway, point being, he's going to be able to easily kill off those science vessels, I think. Washington has somehow managed to save his 3rd base, despite kind of amateurishly losing his 4th base at the top due to just kind of lack of paying attention to it. I'm not blaming him terribly. I probably would have lost it too, but there's just so many things going on in this kind of a game, and there's been so much action. It's not. Oh, nice! Repairing his science vessels, good stuff. So he may actually not just lose those science vessels outright after all. He's going to go back and repair them, and it looks like he's got his 2 fresh new science vessels out with his army to protect them. So Washington actually putting up a decent fight here. The Zerg, however, has taken the entire bottom right half of the map. He's taken his whole half of the map, and so he's 2 expansions ahead. Nicely done. Nice Plague. Scourge is not quite catching those science vessels, but a Plague did catch one. Oh, and he catches the non-Plague science vessel off guard, destroying it completely. Plague Marines just getting absolutely slaughtered by crack Zerglings, and wow. I just, when I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe I'll have to eat my words, and maybe Washington's going to come back in this game, that's when the Zerg comes out and just mops up the force that Washington had out in the map, and now Ultralisk's coming in here as well. So the Zerg has a lot of spare material here, spare resources to throw around at this point, and I mean, to the point that he's building these a lot of really higher level units. Lurker, Ultra, Ling with Defilers is it's just something special. Wow, that Ultralisk's still alive, rampaging around there, despite having survived in irradiation and everything. But yeah, I think there's just too much going on. Yeah, the Zerg just has too much macro going on, and as you can see, that's kind of the part that is really going to kill Washington, is the fact that he is mined out now at his natural, and I didn't notice that before, but that means he's mined out his main as well. So basically, Washington is mining off of 1 base, and the Zerg is mining off of 3 or 4, and that's just too much macro. There's just nothing that Washington can do at this point, especially with all these higher level units coming after him, and he's backing his Marines into a corner, but they're just not going to be able to accomplish anything here. So, oh, this could be beautiful here. Did you see those Scourges? Did you see those? He might, if he can clone those well enough, 1 Scourge per science vessel, that would be beautiful. He might qualify for a pimp play here, taking out several science vessels at the same moment, but we'll see if he can do that, because there's not enough Marines around to really protect all those science vessels. Actually, no, he's grouped up his science vessels, so it's going to be a lot harder to clone him that way. But yeah, this game is just over. So, in any case, nice last-ditch firebats popping out to try and combat the Lings. Look at this, the Lings being so many Lings are taking out firebats, even firebats that can put themselves in a corner. And there we go. Not quite as beautiful as I was hoping for, but the science vessels do get taken out there. Washington, you gotta hand it to Washington for fighting till the last, but he is gonna go down. I'm really curious to see who STX is gonna throw in for the next matchup. Again, the way that they've been going, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Cal, or Best God, or dang it, who's there? STX has another good player or two that I can't remember at the moment. July, Washington, and Cal are kind of their aces, and then they've also got kind of some other players which are pretty good. Oh, Shuttle. I think, does Shuttle play for STX? I think he may. Yeah, Shuttle's pretty good too. So, anyways, poor Washington getting owned. He didn't even get a kill like Jelizer did. Alright, thanks for listening. See you next game. Hello there, welcome to Game 4 of the STX Master Cup final between STX SouL and MBCGame Hero. And, let's see, who are we looking at right now? I think that was the Zerg. There's Toss Girl. Right now, STX is trying to figure out who they're going to put in next as their next competitor in the match. The Zerg has now taken out two of STX's stars, and basically they're two heavy hitters that I'm sure STX would have expected to win this thing for him. But Jelizer came out with only one win before losing to the Zerg. The Zerg is now taking out Huashin as well. And I gotta say, due mostly to Huashin's kind of sloppy play more than anything. Although the Zerg played really well that game, I gotta hand it to him too. I'm not trying to say he didn't deserve that win. But yeah, so we're trying to figure out who's going to come in next. Who's going to be put in next? It's in case you missed it the first time, it's kind of a Clan Wars thing style where someone just keeps going until they're defeated, and you just keep throwing people at them until until you defeat them, basically. And so, okay, the commentator is yelling loudly and excitedly, and now they're going to reveal who is going to come out next, except last time they had this big door like opening and revealing who was going to come out, and then they just cut the video straight to the guy like sitting in the booth already. Let's see who this is going to be. I haven't looked this up beforehand, so I'm just going to have to recognize who it is visually. Hopefully it's not someone that I don't know, so I look like a fool. Okay, it's Cal. Cal is up. I can recognize Cal. So as I was kind of thinking, STX has put in, they just keep putting in their big players, and they're not going to resort to their lower level players until later on. And that makes sense at this point, honestly, because if they put in someone, if they reserved Cal for later on, basically, and they put in someone not as good, then there's the possibility that the Zerg could beat him too, and then they'd be up 3-1, and that would be a very difficult deficit to come back from. So they need to, they can't just reserve their good players for later on, like NBC has actually done. They need to just throw in their big guns right now. So this is Cal here at the 1 o'clock position in Protoss, and he's going to be battling up against the Zerg, who's going to be down here in the bottom right at approximately 4 o'clock. And this appears to be the map Othello. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't, like I said, I didn't want to look up too much about this because I didn't want to spoil anything about it for myself. I forgot to put the map list up beside me, but I can pretty much recognize all the maps pretty much on site these days, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal. Usually, if I can't recognize it just from the spawns, I can figure it out once they do some scouting, and you can see a little bit more of the map, so I'm actually kind of proud of that I can recognize pro gamers and recognize the pro maps pretty easily. I know it's not that big of an accomplishment. A lot of people can do it, but anyway. It's kind of like some of the older maps, Lost Temple or BGH. I can see like any portion of the map, any part of that map. I can recognize the map just from from the sight of one screen's worth of it. because I'm so familiar with maps like those from playing on them for so many years. Anyway, so we got the Zerg going for, it looks like a 9 pool there. Pretty common build versus Protoss these days, going for the 9 pool. And again, I know I've said this kind of in previous games, but I'll say it quickly again, that basically the 9 pool, they can put some early pressure on, and then afterwards they can, he's like, what? I'm on TV? Huh? Afterwards they can switch into more econ if the pressure doesn't work, basically. Luckily for, that's an interesting spot for his forge. Luckily for Cal, he's gotten a quick scout in, and he's going to be able to see exactly what's going on, and wow, the Zerg moving his drones around a lot, not microing them terribly well at all. Oh, a drone goes down even. Jeez, so the Zerg's micro really failing him here at this point. Yeah, I mean, moving all of his drones just to avoid one drone getting attacked, and then moving like half of his drones basically, so those drones were not mining, and then even having that drone finally going down, and now Cal's going to attack even more drones here. I don't think he's probably going to get any more kills because there's Zerglings coming out now. Cal put down 2 cannons at his front door, by the way, which I'm not sure if that was necessary really, but not without seeing if he did more, but I guess he really wants to play. Oh, and there we go. See, he plays it safe, cancels one of the cannons to get some money back, because he saw that not a lot of Zerglings were coming out. If the Zerg had been pumping out Zerglings, he probably would have let that cannon come in. But because the Zerg was not really pumping out Zerglings, though, he's switched to complete economy, actually. I don't know if he's making any Zerglings. I haven't seen any Zerglings, unless they're over at Cal's front door now or something they ran by. But it looks like he just switched straight into economy once he got scouted, basically. And he produced 2 extra hatcheries, and oh, if he loses another drone, that would just be ridiculous. Yeah, look at this. Okay, finally 2 Zerglings come out. That drone is almost dead. Oh, can he get the last couple hits on it before the Zerglings kill it off? Oh, the drone goes down. Wow, the range of the probe. Probes actually have a decent range. You could see that drone burst while it was still a significant distance from that probe. And that probe now with well, I thought it had 2 kills. I thought it killed the drone earlier, but now it only says 1 kill on the screen, so I don't know exactly what is going on with that. I could have sworn he killed a drone earlier. I don't know, unless that was a miscue. I'll have to go back and look at that to determine what happened, but it may have been a miscue by the Zerg. He may have tried to attack the probe and accidentally attacked his drone with one of his other drones or with his Zerglings or something like that. Anyway. Either way, 2 drones have been lost, but again, since he's gone for such a heavy econ build with no Zerglings, it's not going to hurt the Zerg terribly much. And we see now that pretty standard now that Cal has his expansion set up, he's going for some tech. So he's been going for econ the whole time. He probably hasn't stopped producing probes from either of his Nexi for a while now. And I'm not sure if Cal even saw that 3rd hatchery until now. But now he sees that. Now he's got to know that he's gone for heavy econ build here. And we'll see what he does to respond to it, basically. Let's see if that drone can get out alive. Super probe escapes. Will it get away? He's going to keep scouting around. He's not going to try and save the super probe. Hero probe is not going to be able to go home to his hero's welcome after all. He's going to go back in the base. Oh, will he be able to get another scout? And the Zerglings are speed upgraded. I think they're going to be able to catch him. Oh, one gets in the way. The probe goes down, so he's not going to be able to get in and spot this spire, which would have been really crucial. If he's been able to get up that ramp and spot that spire, that would have been absolutely crucial. Again, Terran versus... I'm sorry, Terran. That's the only race that's not involved in this matchup. Zerg versus Protoss. Excuse me, Zerg versus Protoss. Scouting is a really big deal for both sides of the matchup. So... if Cal had been able to see that, obviously, I mean, StarCraft in general is all about responding to what your opponent is doing and having the appropriate counter, basically. And so it's really, really important to find that sort of thing out. So if he knew the Spire was there, he'd have to prepare more. He'd probably put down more cannons in his main. Perhaps depending on what counter strategy he wanted to go. Oh, Zerglings! It looks like he was going to try and run in there and go for an attack. But the Zerg actually being very intelligent about that. Oh, Probe coming in here. Probe coming in. He's going to get up the ramp. The Zerg does not have anything nearby. All of his Scourges are, all of his Zerglings are over by Cal's base, and so he's not going to be able to block this probe. The probe gets into his base. All of his Zerglings went around the long way so they wouldn't be detected, and as a result, the probe gets in. He sees the Spire. So he's got a few different ways that he can defend against this. He could try and build up enough Corsairs to deal with any Mulists that come out. That's a possibility. He's got 2. He's got a 3rd on the way. He's going for a Sarah Reaver build anyways. He could just go for that. It's difficult though to hold off if he goes for some kind of a Muta rush. Although he probably won't because he hasn't had a lot of gas going this whole time. Yeah, and a couple more hatcheries going down. So he's probably just going to try and get some Scourges out, play a little July Zerg style, and try and contain the amount of Corsairs, I guess, by keeping the Corsair count down, by trying to Scourge them, or at least keep them pinned back in his base with Scourges, because then he wouldn't be able to move out until he had several. So yeah, there's some Scourges there. And now he's switched over. He's got the Den and the Illusion Chamber. It's possible that if he hadn't been scouted out, the Zerg was planning on going for a Mutalisk bust. That was a possibility there. And for some reason, this is weird. Okay, so it looked like he's going for Sarah Reaver, but Cal has actually switched also. But he's going to get scouted here. Scourge is coming in here to scout this out. And so now he's going to know exactly what's going on. There's more gateways going up, and he stopped producing Corsairs. So Cal, I mean, that's one of the things I like about Cal. Actually, I really like him as a player because he's really good at switching his strategies to throw off the opponent. So while the Zerg has switched strategies to more of a ground-based force, so has Cal. Cal has decided to switch over as well and go for a complete ground force by putting up extra gateways. He stopped producing Corsairs. He's going to start producing ground units instead. He still has already invested in the robotics facility, so he's going to have to get some Reavers here. And that's not uncommon to basically do Dragoons instead of all Corsairs in order to protect against the air, and then still bring along some Reavers for the ground. And yeah, so he's going to be pretty prepared here. He's still got 4 Corsairs, 5 Corsairs as well. Actually, he may have started. No, he just produced 1 extra one, I guess, just for the sake of it. Maybe add some extra gas liner, and I'll produce another Corsair. Why not? There are a lot of Mutalisks built up now for the Zerg. He's actually pumping out Mutalisks with all of his gas at this point. And it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for him. It's possible if he goes in with a combination of Scourges, he could be able to do some damage, but 5 Corsairs is a lot. It's also possible he's just planning on using those Mutalisks as a sniping tactic, try and snipe the shuttle, or snipe any High Templar that come out if he gets Templar eventually, something like that. That may be the purpose of the Mutalist there, but it's all going to come down to the battle here. So Cal feels that he has enough of a force that he's going to move out here. He's got 2 Reavers in that shuttle, and I don't think he knows that all these Mutalisks are here. He has no idea, I don't think, that these Mutalisks are there. He's got the Corsairs in the air, and I think those Corsairs are probably going to be enough to do it. They're going to be able to do... Oh, Scourge is coming in! The Corsair is attacking! Oh my god, this Corsair is attacking the Mutalist, not attacking the Scourges. The Scourges take out all the Corsairs, and the Reavers go down to the Mutalisks. Complete utter slaughter. Now the Zerglings coming out to deal with the Dragoons. C is almost as excited as I am right now. That was absolutely ridiculously done. Enormously wonderful play by the Zerg. That was brilliant. Sheer, utter brilliance. Going in with the Mutalisks, then going with the Scourges to take out the Corsairs. Once the Corsairs were gone, the Mutalisks were free to do whatever they wanted, taking out the Reavers. Basically, just every level of Cal's offense was taken out systematically by its complete counter, and that paved the way for the next set of units to go in and take out the other ones. And just absolutely freaking brilliantly done by Cal. I'm sorry, by the Zerg. That was just genius. That was just absolutely incredible. Wow, and that was amazing, and it was cool to see C jumping up and down and yelling in support of his teammate there. Wow, that Reaver is guarded by a lot of Dragoons here, but still vulnerable to if those Mutalisks come back. But that Reaver is what's keeping Cal alive at this point, to block off those ground forces. The Lings not able to go in there and kill off the Dragoons because of that Reaver hanging around in the back. Man, brilliantly defended by the Zerg. I am really impressed by the Zerg today in general. He's been playing really well. Normally he's pretty second tier, but today he's just performing pretty brilliantly. I mean, some really good tactics against Wash and now showing some good colors against Cal. Cal is not out of this yet, though. Don't count him out yet. It was, I mean, if that it's pretty harsh to lose that first shuttle and Reavers and that whole first attack force, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, he's not out yet. Although, oh no, Mutalisk coming in here, and he doesn't have any Corsairs anymore. He does not have any Corsairs to block against these Mutalisks. Luckily, the Zerg not paying attention, not doing a very good job there. The Zerg could have easily taken out some probes, but he is deciding not to, and now he's going to get a little bit surrounded by some Dragoons. I have no idea what the Zerg is doing now with these Mutalisks. He's being a bit silly with them, honestly. Going in and attacking a gateway isn't going to do a whole lot of good here. Except maybe just kind of distract Cal. He's obviously going to be able to take out 3 Mutalisks before they're able to kill off a gateway. And he's focus firing, too. He's not... I don't know why he's not... Maybe this is just a distractionary technique to try and draw Cal's forces back while he goes in the front with a main force. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I'm curious if Psystorm is upgraded or not at this point. His Temple Archives hasn't been up for a long time, but if he started researching it right when the Temple Archives warped in, he may have Psystorm researched already. It's difficult though. It's difficult to make a lot of Templar and have the gas for basically a few High Templar and to research Psystorm all at the same time, all when the Templar Archives first pops up. So you have to make the decision whether you want to get Storm first, so you have those couple first Storms ready first, or if you want to go for the Templar first, so that they're able to start building up energy. So that they're able to start building up energy, so they'll have 2 Storms when it comes out. And he's actually spent money on shuttle speed as well, so he's really kind of, and that's a good long-term investment, honestly, because then he's going to be able to use that shuttle speed to a lot of effect, especially on this map, which is Othello. He's going to be able to drop High Templar on ridges and things like that to try to get some storm drops in. And a huge army. Wow, a huge army going over the left side of the map. And it looks like Cal's going to spot it. I'm not sure if he spotted that with that Zealot. Huge army going around the left side of the map. I'm not sure exactly what the Zerg is doing with that army over there. Maybe he's checking for expansions. But that is way away from anywhere that they need to be right now. And here's a couple Zealots being dropped in here with that shuttle speed, able to drop them off and get out of the way. Shuttle speed able to outrun Scourges. Oh my goodness! Oh, nice! Very nice done! Oh my goodness! For some reason, some of those drones were not in the path of the Psystorm or something, but Jesus, that was beautiful. Setting in the Zealots, and now there's another storm going off. Nicely done. Again, not that many drones killed, though, but he's going to be able to kill off the spawning pool with those Zealots. But that was beautifully done, I have to say. Going in with there's some more kills. Looks like, it's hard to tell, 7 kills on the Templar, maybe. At the same time, there's the Zerg's attack force going in on Cal's front door, and just too many Dragoons there. And I don't think... Oh my gosh, the Zerg was not microing well enough. And forces in his main base and his frontal attack force getting slaughtered. Cal comes back from some early losses from losing that first battle and manages to take the game. That is what I love about Cal. He's really good under pressure and just a brilliant player. That was really nicely done. Chasing the drones away with the Zealots and then putting the High Templar in a place to storm the drones that were being chased away. That was sheer brilliance. Sheer brilliance, and so nicely done by Cal. Cal takes game 4, and it's now tied up 2-2, so GG. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 5. This is the 5th game, game number 5. The series is tied at 2-2 between MBCGame and STX SouL, and here they're going to reveal who is going to be playing up next against Cal, and I am anticipating it to be C. He's kind of their best player. Okay, let's see. There's Cal. I'm anticipating C. He's kind of the best player on NBC, and actually, it is Poussin. That's interesting. Interesting choice. I guess it's only 2-2, so if Poussin loses, they can still throw in C after him. But I would have thought they would have wanted to try and get a lead with C. I don't know. Maybe they're hoping Poussin can somehow take him out and saving C for a little bit later. I don't know. Anyway, Poussin, I've been wanting to do a game with Poussin for a while. I think I may have mentioned this in the something with the Pro League. Oh yeah, the Pro League finals were held in Busan, and I mentioned this as well. But I've been wanting to mention this during a game in Busan. That Busan is a town. It's a city in southern Korea, as in the south end of South Korea, and it actually was the last kind of area where the South Koreans held out during the Korean War after the North Koreans invaded over basically took over most of the country there, and that's where they were holding out. And so when the United Nations got back and got involved in it, they kind of reinvaded from middle, and as well as from Busan. They reinforced Busan as well. So random little historical trivia there that Busan was, for a minute or two, Busan was the last holdout of South Korea. It was basically all of South Korea was Busan for a short time there, or the surrounding area. Anyway, so Cal is going to be in the top left corner in teal. Busan is going to be in the bottom left-hand corner, and it looks like white or yellow. And so it looks like a Samsung player there. I don't remember what that guy's name is. He's kind of one of Samsung's lesser players, I think, sitting in the crowd there. Anyway, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, so Busan is kind of he's kind of a second tier Protoss player. He's been doing decently well lately. Now people are gonna get up in arms when I say, oh, he's a second tier player, because he used to be really good. And what the hell? Oh my goodness! Well, wow. C is apparently not impressed with the C mask, where he's trying to hide his impression of it. Anyway, Busan used to be very good. He used to be a top contender in the scene, and well, he, like a lot of players that do that, he then kind of fell out of favor. He stopped playing well, and he stopped being able to succeed, basically. And so he's kind of stayed in the pro scene. He's been playing a little bit in Pro League and what have you, but he hasn't been a contender for a long time. Little manor pylon going down in Busan's base there. Who's that? Is that Shark? I think it's Shark. I forgot about Shark. I guess that's another player that MBC has that's pretty decent. Shark's alright, so depending on what day it is. Manor pylon going down. Let's see if he cancels it. Yeah, he cancels it. Having stopped the production of one probe for a short amount of time, he cancels that. Pretty even trade-off, I guess. That one probe mining minerals probably would have made about the same amount that he lost from canceling the pylon. Anyway. Oh yeah, but Busan's been doing pretty well lately, actually. He hasn't quite gotten up to a contender status or anything like that. Ooh, nice. Cal sneaking the Zealot around out of visual range, trying to sneak in there and get a probe. He's already hit the probe a couple times with his probe. Ooh, his probe gets picked off, though, and he has not picked off Busan's probe. Let's see if he can. He's just going to try and harass there. The two Zealots against one, though. Oh, and Busan stopped paying attention to his probe, though, while he's trying to kill off Cal's probe in his base. Cal's Zealot in his base, rather. Loses his scouting probe, so that could be vital in the grand scheme of things. He's still probably going to be able to get another probe over there if he really wants to. And he was able to see the second gateway going down at the very least. But still, you usually want to keep your probe alive as long as possible. Unless occasionally... Well, you know what? I've never seen a pro do it. But occasionally players will suicide their probe to get an extra psi count in order to make a unit. If you need 2 psi for your Zealot and you've only got 1 left and you really want to make that Zealot right now, sometimes you might kill off a probe or suicide your scouting probe if you don't think it's necessary anymore to try to clear up that psi. But usually pro gamers are so on top of things that they've got a pylon warping in right when it's needed anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. Anyway, pretty standard builds going on here. Usually at this point you would expect wow, Templar Archives going down already for Busan here, and Cal snuck in a probe. He sees the Citadel of Adun. Let's see if he might not see the Templar Archives. He's seen the Templar Archives. He knows the Templar Archives is going on, and wow, so this is absolutely great scouting for Cal, and really kind of poor of Busan to let that scout in, honestly. I actually didn't see where that probe came from, but I think it came in afterward, after he'd already gotten him out beforehand. But anyway, yeah, so that scout has gotten in there. He's going to be expecting the Dark Templar to come out. He's probably building a robotics facility already. Yeah, there's a robotics facility. So he's going to have observers out. Not with plenty of time to spare, but I think he's probably going to be able to get them out with enough time to spare. And in the meantime, he's putting some pressure on here, trying to kill off some of Poussin's units, going with his four Dragoons. Dark Templar are still a good 15 seconds off, so he's got a little bit of time to try and do some damage with these Dragoons here. It looks like he might even lose one Dragoon. No, he's picked off all of the Zealots. He's picked off all of Poussin's Zealots, and the Dragoon is forced away. It would be instantly killed if it tried to maneuver in and try and attack those Dragoons there. And now he's actually going for pylons here. Cal is going for the pylons that are powering Poussin's gateways. No, he's switched off. I'm sorry. He's just kind of attacking whatever he can right now. He's starting to lose Dragoons, though. To those two Dark Templar that popped out. And so he could have microed a little bit better there. He hasn't really taken out a lot. He's trying to take out some probes here. He's basically, I guess, decided to sacrifice these Dragoons to the will of the Dark Templar. Maybe just trying to distract, buy some time until he can get observers out almost. But in the meantime, Poussin has built nothing but Dark Templars. He has no forces on the ground except for those Dark Templar. So when Cal gets his reinforcements coming in, with observers alongside, it's going to be absolutely devastating. Just a line of Dark Templar chasing the Dragoons back to their base, but there are going to be observers in place. And yeah, backup Dragoons, so if he loses, he might lose those Dark Templar here in a second. He doesn't know that observer's coming in. Don't so squash and show the battle. Okay, there we go. So one Dark Templar gets picked off. Second one almost gets picked off. One of the Dark Templars running around the side. He's going to try and go in and sneak in. A second observer is probably going to be coming out, though. It's going to come down to a little bit of luck for Cal at this point, if he can defend his front door or not. Zealots are coming out. The Dark Templar is sneaking into his base. They are sneaking into his base, and the second observer is probably going to be popping out here to catch the Dark Templar, but there's no forces back there, and he's losing probes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he didn't anticipate this. He's losing probes. In the meantime, he's putting pressure on Poussin's front door, though. Poussin losing some troops at his front door, and yeah, okay, so now some Zealots popping out, and with that observer to try and take care of that Dark Templar in Cal's base. But it looks like he lost a few probes there, and he needs to fall back here. He's still trying to put pressure on Poussin's front door, but he's now outnumbered, so it's not really doing a lot of good, and I don't know why Poussin still has those probes there. He loses 2 probes because he had them around. But yeah, things kind of equalize now, I guess, at this point. Yeah, so... Sorry, another observer coming out, just a safety observer. Maybe he didn't have that observer before, actually. I'm not sure. No, I'm certain he had an observer before. He must have produced it. Anyway, yes, so things are kind of equalized now. Poussin moving out with a large force here, and Cal, I think he pressed his slight advantage a little bit too much and pressed it for too long and left his troops in Poussin's base while he got outnumbered. And now he's produced a Dark Templar of his own, but his front door is in danger here. Let's see if he brings back his Dark Templar to deal with this front door threat or not. It looks like he's just going to try and depend on his micro, depend on that choke point. He's going to go in with the Dark Templar. It makes sense. There is only a small window of opportunity, and he may not be able to get in before that window happens. The cannon is about to warp in. Dark Templar running in. He's going to be able to see that cannon. He might be able to get by, though, before the cannon warps in. The cannon is not yet warped in, and the Dark Templar does manage to get by. The observatory is in his base, but there's no cannons in his main, and Cal has managed to sneak in a Dark Templar timing. Barely got it in time. He's going to be able to take out some probes here. He's going to have to run out a lot of probes there. Hopefully he has a cannon morphing at his expansion, because he's not going to have an observer out for a few seconds here. And in the meantime, Cal's going to have free reign of his base. It's not going to be able to stay around there long enough, and he tries to block the door, but it doesn't work. That was poorly done by Poussin. It looks like he was trying to block the door. Another Dark Templar sneaking in, the cannon attacking out of the way. Will it get killed? It looks like the Dark Templar did not get killed on the way in, but the observer is out now. But it also means that he's going to have to split his forces between the two Dark Templar. One finally gets killed off, but now that observer is not within range to attack the... Oh, what? Poussin taking some free pot shots at his own Nexus there. Maybe trying to anticipate the Dark Templar popping up and get a little bit overexcited. There we go. Okay, so finally the second Dark Templar goes down, but he distracted Poussin from mining for a long time there. That was a lot of economic damage he did. I think that more than made up for the fact that he had some economic damage done to his own base during that course of events when Dark Templar went in his base. Looks like Cal has actually managed, and both players actually managing to get up a third base. I actually no, never mind. Poussin does not have a third base going up. For some reason, I thought he did, but they must have just been focusing on his expansion, and I got confused. Anyway, so things again have kind of come back to an equalization point. I thought they were equalized before, but I didn't realize that Cal had rushed so much to Dark Templar beforehand. So anyway, where was I going? Oh yes. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. High Templar out now for Cal, and those in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, end up usually being the deciding factor in Protoss versus Protoss battles. In the mid game, kind of early mid game, it's the Reavers, but both players basically have skipped Reavers. At the point where Cal might have been getting Reavers, he had to rush to Observers and kind of ignore Reavers, and then he rushed to his own Dark Templar. So both players kind of distracted, not bothering. Actually, just as I'm saying that, they show that actually Poussin has built a robotics support bay. And it will be interesting to see if that's what he does, if he's decided to actually get Reavers. Okay, something is in that shuttle. I would not be surprised if there was a Reaver in that shuttle now, and maybe some Dark Templar or something like that. He might be going for a High Templar, trying to go for a Templar drop or something like that instead. It's hard to tell. Okay, but there, Poussin now setting up his third base, whereas Cal has his third base long ahead. Is definitely ahead economically here. And I really think that Cal is going to win this game. Poussin is behind economically, but also more than that, he's low on troops, and he's low on critical like tech troops, like Templar. Cal is going to have 4, or at least 4 High Templar in his army when they do battle, and they're going to have at least 2 storms each at this rate, because it's been a little bit of a while. And Poussin, on the other hand, he may have a Reaver, but he's only going to have a couple Templar. They're going to have less storms in them. He's really just going to be at a disadvantage there. It looks like he's preparing to go out with some kind of harassment with his shuttle, but I think that was Cal's Observer. It's hard to tell, but I think that was Cal's Observer that was near that shuttle. So Cal is going to know exactly, and there he goes to intercept, and the shuttle, shuttle almost goes down. That would have been critical if that shuttle had gone down. That would have been almost a game clincher for Cal right now. He's already taking a 4th base in the top right hand corner. A little bit risky of a spot for a base, but it's also going to be difficult for Poussin to get over there. He may be aware of it. He's he's going to try and run his shuttle all the way around the map, and that may actually cause him to spot that base in the top right hand corner. But he'll probably take a little bit of a shortcut. But in the meantime, that shuttle, whatever's in that shuttle, is not going to be nearby when Cal attacks. It looks like Cal might be setting up for a frontal attack here. It looks like a shuttle another shuttle for Poussin. Poussin attacking, it looks like, with 2 shuttles from different sides. I'm curious to see what's in those shuttles. Probably a Reaver in this one, and probably High Templar in another one. Okay, there is actually a Reaver at the front door. And whoa, okay, shuttle coming in here. Actually, that was Cal's shuttle. Cal's shuttle coming in here. Nice storm, getting five kills there. Another second storm getting a few more kills off there. And in the meantime, a storm drop going off for Poussin as well. Nicely done by both players, especially in the heat of battle, getting those storms off while he was distracted trying to protect his own base. Although neither player running their probes extremely well as a result, because they were both kind of distracted with their own storm drops there. So kind of even damage done to both sides, I think, in this case. So not a terrible advantage taken from either player. So again, Cal kind of retaining the advantage just because all things even in that battle, he's ahead. Cal going in for another shuttle drop here. Poussin has got to see this. Oh, Poussin sees it a moment too late. A few kills getting off there, and he drops out a Zealot to distract the Dragoons, so the shuttle can get away. And so that was nicely done. If Poussin had really been on top of things, he probably could have attacked the shuttle and taken that out. That might have been even more Well, I guess it makes sense to want to kill off the High Templar first, so that you can uh, send your probes back to mining at the very least. As long as that High Templar was there and the risk of another storm drop, then he couldn't do it. Oh, Cal! Cal ran his troops away, ran them back into the storm though. I guess he was running away from the secondary drop of Templar behind his base there. Nicely done though. And also, oh Jesus, another storm going off. More probes going down. Absolute probe slaughter in this game. Just storms going off on probes left and right. And both players putting defenses in place to try and block these storm drops, but the drops going off nonetheless. Just cannons all over the place, but just not enough good to stop this from happening. Absolutely ridiculous. Storms going off everywhere. I think Cal still has the advantage though. He has the top right base up and going now, and I don't think that Poussin knows about it at all. Poussin's still at 3 bases, Cal at 4. I think Cal has probably lost a few more probes. Ow, Jesus, never mind. I was going to say Cal had lost a few more probes in all of these exchanges, but maybe not. Oh, storm going off, and oh, Cal almost saves all of his troops, all of his probes there, but a couple get taken out in that second storm. Nicely done by Cal, very on top of the ball, on the ball, taking his probes away there. Anyway, so I think Poussin, if he could find out that base is in the top right and go make a little bit of an attack, take out that base, he might, maybe a little Dark Templar drop or something like that, he might be able to come back in this game. I still think he's behind though. He's been doing some really good storm drops, but militarily he just doesn't have the forces that Cal has on the ground. I think Cal is probably ahead in psi count at this point. Oh, Zealot's distracting the Dragoons. The shuttle going in. I didn't see what the shuttle was doing. Okay, the shuttle has fallen back, actually. It's just support units, I guess. Cal, it looks like he's trying to basically keep Poussin from getting that 4th base. Going to slowly start. And wow, I saw that before, but I didn't really think about it until just now. Cal, oh my gosh. Cal putting cannons in Poussin, in front of Poussin's base, containing him with cannons, so he can't even get out very easily. And Poussin sacrificing a shuttle here. Whoa, that Templar! Oh, tried to pick up the Templar to chase those probes. Almost worked, but there was just too little hit points on that shuttle. It would have worked with the shuttle speed, but the last couple hits there, sniping off that shuttle before it can do a lot of good. And just Cal is just so firmly in control of the map right now. Look at this. Cannons going down in front of his base. Just sheer containment here. Poussin probably feels like he's doing okay at this point with all these nice storm drops and everything. But it's just too much, I think. He's being very persistent with these storm drops. Oh, no. Whoa, Cal running back into the fire. Only losing 1 probe, though. The storm, luckily, was just about done. And some storms going off behind his army. Oh, nicely done. That was a lot nicer. The storm's going off, but unfortunately, he storms his own troops as well. And like this is what I was talking about. Poussin just has too few troops. Just too few troops. And to really do any good. And just Cal just has overwhelming forces here. And even if Poussin manages to hold this off, he's not going to be able to leave his base because there's cannons outside of his base right now. And Cal may actually finish off the game here. I thought this might have been pushed back with the reinforcements, but Cal is just powering home. The Archon's just taking so much damage away. It's just taking so much damage in the front. And Cal may even be able to take out this base. If he can take out this base, then that will be basically the game for Poussin here. Only 1 cannon left here, and reinforcements go. Oh, shuttle flying out. Now he sees those cannons there. Shuttle flying out there, and reinforcements coming for Cal. Looks like Poussin's trying desperately to get another dropout to try and do some more storms or something like that. But there comes a point where no matter how many probes you kill, if you're losing your base to superior forces, then it's not gonna make a big deal. It reminds me of that game between Jangbi and Fort Gigi, where I don't even know if he knew that base was there. Flying into cannon fire there. Finally, the GG from Poussin. Well done by Cal. Very nicely done by Cal. And I got to hand it to Poussin. He was just ridiculously on top of his storm drops in that game. Doing a really nice job of harassing Cal. Any lesser Protoss would have fallen to that because Cal just did a ridiculously good job of dodging storms. And if he hadn't done that good of a job, then he would have been despite having an extra base, he would have been too far behind economically. So, well done by Pusan, taking care of that. Well done by Pusan. I'm sorry, what I was going to say is well done by Pusan with all the storm drops, but even better done by Cal, taking care of getting his probes out of the way and avoiding any major damage there. So Cal brings the series to 3-2. They're going to have to send in C next. He's their best player. He's going to have to go in next to try and even the score at 3-3, I think. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but let's go on to Game 6 and see what happens. Alright, welcome to Game 6 of the STX Masters Cup thingamabobber. Yes, one of the interesting things about doing a long series of 7 games is you get to see... I get to go back and look at the comments from the first few games while they're up, and then actually respond to them in the audio of the later games. Anyways, what I was point being, no, it is their C. I knew it. I knew they were going to put C in. I thought they were going to put him in the last time too, but I knew they were going to put him in this time because they need him right now. Anyway, but no, it was not my girlfriend that I was giving a happy birthday shout to. It was a guy named Patrick who had messaged me on YouTube. Anyway, but yeah. So we're going to get started here. Back on Athena, and it's going to be Cal versus C. This should be pretty epic, and regardless of how things go, I think this is going to determine who wins the set. Well, I mean, if Cal wins, I guess that then he wins. But if C wins, I think C is probably going to be able to take on anyone that STX can throw into Game 4. I think that he's probably going to take the match for his team there. So we'll see. It may have been that they put in C fourth since he was, in fact, the most likely to be able to all-kill. They wanted to throw in some noobs first and try and... So they both kind of took different approaches here. MBC put in kind of their worst players first, and excuse me, STX put in their best players first. Anyway. So, getting on to the game here, though, C is going to be at the 2 o'clock position, and Cal is going to be at the 9 o'clock position. And I'm looking forward to this match. It should be very exciting since these are two very top-level players. C, of course, not usually able to achieve much success in the individual leagues, but he's still a force to contend with. He just can't seem to get past... I think he might have gotten to the round of 8 once, but he usually can't get past the round of 16 usually. There's some other players chilling in the audience. Again, I don't recognize them. I'm sorry, so I can't tell exactly who they are. Anyway. What was I talking about? Sorry, it's been several games now. Oh, yeah, so, one thing I was going to mention that's kind of interesting is that it used to be, in past seasons, they've done these Masters Cup thingamajiggers that are basically just kind of extra matches to do in between the seasons. And in the past, they've had the option where what you could do is you could, basically if someone was killing all of your guys, then you could actually basically say, okay, we're going to do a 2v2. So, if Jelizer get beaten 2 players in a row, then they would have the option of basically calling a 2v2 to interrupt July's streak and get him off of get him out of the booth, I guess. And they didn't decide to do that for this series though, which is kind of interesting. But yes, but Cal is still in though because he has won. He did win the last game. And so that has put STX up 3-2. So if Cal wins this game, then basically STX takes the whole set. I don't even know what's at stake. I don't know if anything is at stake except for just fun. Maybe it's just for fun. Oh, let's just have some fun because we won, celebrating stuff. I don't know. In other words, I don't know if there's any money or anything involved. C's down to 1 SCV on his gas mine now, on his refinery. So probably going to see a pretty standard thing from C, kind of a FD Terran type build where you go for the command center after your first factory, basically. FD standing for fake double Terran, where you're kind of like faking like you're doing a double factory build by putting out a lot of units. Um, and you don't actually put out, well, you put out some units and you still go for a quick push basically, but it's a cover for getting an extra command center, and you don't actually have two factories basically. And it's funny that it's kind of called fake double Terran, because now it's pretty standard, and it's pretty obvious when they're going for the fake double build, and it's not really fake anymore because you can recognize the signs. I mean, when they come out with, you know, 4 Marines and a tank and then a Vulture to follow, you're pretty sure that they're making a command center in the background, because that's kind of what they do. That would be, dude, that would be the really cool the fake double. I just invented a build, okay? The fake double, FFD Terran, where you go and you actually make 2 factories, but you still make 4 Marines and a tank, and you move out with that. But then you can move out with extra forces as your reinforcements once you start pushing the Protoss back, and they might not be prepared for it because they think it's just an FD Terran. Actually, that's probably been done before. I know I probably didn't invent it, but I just had that idea. Anyway, yeah. Hold on one second. Sorry, Diggity just instant messaged me. I had to message him back there. Sorry. These are kind of random games, so I don't mind being a little bit random in them. I hope you guys don't mind either. But, oh, crap. In fact, there was some other announcement I was going to make. Yeah, here we go. 4 Marines and a tank. Oh, sneaky Dragoon coming in from behind. Coming in from behind is going to attack the tank directly. Oh, tank, no, the tank goes down. The tank goes down. Oh, man, that was really sneaky by Cal. The mines are down, though. He's going to have a tough time defending against his mines right next to his gateway. 2 hits. Oh, the second hit goes on the Vulture. He does not take out the mine, but he's got an observer out, so the mines aren't going to matter anyways. But very nicely done by Cal. Having that the Dragoon out and using some probes to finish off one of the Marines, it looked like. But, oh, watch out, Dragoon! Oh, by having that Dragoon out in the open, usually you use the Marines as kind of a shield against, you use them as a shield against the tank, to protect the tank, because the tank is the most important port. The most important part of that push is the tank, because it's going to be doing the most damage. And the Marines are doing a little bit of damage, but basically they're there such that if the Dragoons try and close on the tank, the Marines can do damage for free. As the Dragoons are chasing the tank can fall back, the Marines do extra damage. So they're kind of shielding the tank, and the tank is doing most of the real damage to the Dragoons. As you saw, 3 Marines were barely able to do very much to 1 Dragoon, let alone a couple Dragoons. So by sneaking that Dragoon in the back, basically, is my point, Cal was actually able to target the tank directly, and I'm not even sure if C was paying attention. He was trying to target fire down the other Dragoon, maybe before it died. Maybe he knew it was going to die in one way or another. But, oh, Jesus, Vulture's coming in here. Complete surround on his Dragoons. His observer is there. Oh, but a couple mines go off. He's able to take out most of the mines, chasing down 2 of the Dragoons go down. 2 Dragoons go down. The 3rd Dragoon goes down. The 4th Dragoon is in mortal danger. It is about to die. Absolutely epic surround by C. Extremely well done by C. Very nicely done. Coming in for, oh man, that was crazy. I did not expect that to happen at all. I don't think Cal expected it to happen either. He was probably also, just like me, he was probably talking to someone about how awesome his maneuver was coming from behind with the Dragoon, but both of us were distracted, and both of us didn't see the Vultures swooping in for the kill. Extremely well done by C, surrounding those Dragoons. And man, that was just unlucky almost by Cal too, that the mines were just placed perfectly and happened to go off. Even though he had that observer there, he's just, and I guess he could have targeted the mines a little bit better maybe. That would have been a really neat way to get out of that. July Cirque's, he looked, never mind. He looked like he was falling asleep for a second there, like he was bored or something. Anyway, so C really worried about that drop coming in here. That is a pretty standard play, putting up turrets everywhere, almost overdoing the turrets, I gotta say. Nice, planting down the siege tank right next to a spider mine, so that if a zealot drops on it, it will be sure to die. Anyway, yes, C maybe overdoing it, but you know, he's he's got a little bit of a lead here because he did a lot of damage in that attack. So I think it's okay for him to go a little bit overboard on the turrets there. Well, never mind. I won't say overboard. I take that back. Actually, it's they're spaced out nicely. Actually, come to think of it, so I guess it's pretty. It's kind of the minimum, even though it's several turrets, and sometimes players will go for less turrets. Um, you gotta I can't blame him for being safe, first of all, but also they're really well placed so that it's the minimum, I guess, that you need. Oh, and he didn't get another pylon down or anything. It's at the point where he can make another Reaver pretty easily, but still, he is on the back foot, and every unit is going to count here. And that shuttle is just total veteran shuttle here. Just been in every major engagement in this entire game, but it's still not managed. Actually, there may be a second shuttle, actually, come to think of it. I'm not sure if he got a second shuttle. One may have died, I don't recall. But regardless, this shuttle has been around the block, flying around the block. In fact, it's just floated over the block. That's how experienced it is. Um, oh, super shuttle finally goes down. Lets one zealot out, but okay. So to finish my story real quick, the arbiter. I wanted to get off the recall as soon as possible. I hit recall. All my troops, they went off in the blue ball, and oh Jesus, ton of zealots coming in here. And again, I don't think they're going to be able to break in. He may break the first line, but C just has too many layers. He's got tanks to the south on the ridge and more vultures coming in, too many mines around, and Cal, again, just with not enough forces to back up. Only looked like a dozen zealots and less than a dozen dragoons. So I hit the recall off, and because there were buildings on the ground below my arbiter, the arbiter couldn't place the units on the ground where it was. So they had to go to the next nearest location, which was, guess where? Below the island, on the low ground. So all of my zealots that I was trying to recall in, and some other dragoons as well, all got recalled to the low ground, even though my arbiter was clearly on the high ground above his island. And I lost the game because my arbiter got killed, and that was the last chance I had to kill off his island expansion. And he still had a battle cruiser, so he could have spent the next hour and a half Ryumato cannoning me to death. So I had to give in, but that sucked. Anyways, that was a random long story, I guess, just to say that that's what happens when you have when you try and drop something out of a shuttle and there's no space for it to drop. It has to go to the next location, and that's why Cal lost his Reaver eons ago. Now losing another shuttle and another Reaver. Cal just throwing forces at C, and C critically has not taken any economic damage in this entire battle, in this entire game, rather. He's not even gotten a Scarab off on an SCV line a single time. Well, maybe there was once, now that I'm trying to remember. He dropped a Zealot in a couple times, but for the most part, not really losing anything of any critical importance, not losing any bases, whereas Cal has lost bases, he's lost probes, he's had to run probes countless times. Well, I'm not going to go back and count at least. And he's just losing his army over and over and over again. And I mean, that's how you win a game in a longer game is you keep part of your army and they lose theirs, and then you have more the next time because you kept part of your army, and then you're able to kill theirs off again. And those battles are the times where you can make a difference. Oh, Suicide Dark Templar? No, not going to take out the vultures. We're going to take out one vulture, a lot of mines at least. But anyway, those deciding battles, those are what decide things, basically. Get that? The deciding battles decide things? Pure genius, I know, but you can quote me on it if you want. But yeah, those are the times when you can come back, if you can take a battle and you can come back and gain a military advantage in the long run, but usually the military advantage that one player has keeps them in the military advantage in the future, unless they get some good tech to counteract or something like that. Anyway, so Cal just consistently losing battle after battle, loses another battle. He has managed to keep, it looks like 4 bases going, or 4 bases up now. Actually, 5 bases. 1, 2, 3, 1. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think that's 5. Looking at the mini map here. But C has taken just as many bases. Actually, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6, maybe 7 bases for C. And when you're a Protoss, you usually want to be at least one Nice. Archon in the supply line, not subject to mine fire. Anyway, but yeah, when you're Protoss, you want to try and stay at least one base ahead of the Terran, and so being one base behind the Terran is just being two bases behind the Terran rather is basically a death in the long run. Again, sacrificing another shuttle just to try and uh, throw some units in his main, just to try and distract C a little bit. And he's going around picking off the turrets so he can try and do more. But really, I mean, what you really want to clear up space so that you can get in there and use your reavers on like 2 SCVs in the future or something like that. This doesn't seem worth it at this point. He should be trying to harass some of the side bases, trying to kill some SCVs off, trying to if he could go around and somehow storm drop all of C's bases right in a row with a super speed shuttle full of super Templar, then he might be able to somehow come back in this game. But it's just not working there. Um, anyway, oh no, he must have told someone to build a Nexus and then they didn't, and he sent the probes anyway. And this could be tragic if those probes run back across the battlefield to try and find a Nexus to deposit their stashes with. But Cal putting up a really good fight. This is the map that basically I think lost him the series against 4GG in the last MSL was this map where it was just 4GG had too many choke points to defend and just too narrow of passages and ridges and everything. And Cal, even though he fought really well in that game, he just was not able to take out 4GG in that game, and he ended up losing the series, obviously 3-2. And I think that was the map that did him in. Obviously on Coliseum, he'd lost that last game there, and that was there was something to that as well. But yeah, that's the game that I think he should have won. That he played well in, and it was just the map and luck that he lost the game because of. So anyway, but Cal is going to go down. This is basically his last mining base here. So he's going to lose it here in just a second. I don't think there's anything he has to break this defense. I mean, there's that little bridge and everything, and those bridges are what I'm talking about. So GG coming from Cal finally. Let's go check out Game 7. Maybe there was once now that I'm trying to remember. He dropped a Zealot in a couple times, but for the most part, not really losing anything of any critical importance, not losing any bases, whereas Cal has lost bases, he's lost probes, he's had to run probes countless times. Well, I'm not going to go back and count at least. And he's just losing his army over and over and over again. And I mean, that's how you win a game in a longer game is you keep part of your army and they lose theirs, and then you have more the next time because you kept part of your army, and then you're able to kill theirs off again. And those battles are the times where you can make a difference. Oh, Suicide Dark Templar? No, not going to take out the vultures. So we're going to take out one vulture, a lot of mines at least. But anyway, those deciding battles, those are what decide things, basically. Get that? The deciding battles decide things? Pure genius, I know, but you can quote me on it if you want. But yeah, those are the times when you can come back, is if you can take a battle and you can come back and gain a military advantage in the long run, but usually the military advantage that one player has keeps them in the military advantage in the future, unless they get some good tech to counteract or something like that. Anyway, so Cal just consistently losing battle after battle, loses another battle. He has managed to keep, it looks like 4 bases going, or 4 bases up now. Actually, 5 bases. 1, 2, 3, 1. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Yeah, I think that's 5. Looking at the mini map here. But C has taken just as many bases. Actually, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6, maybe 7 bases for C. And when you're a Protoss, you usually want to be at least one. Nice. Archon in the supply line, not subject to mine fire. Anyway, but yeah, when you're Protoss, you want to try and stay at least one base ahead of the Terran, and so being one base behind the Terran is just being 2 bases behind the Terran rather is basically a death in the long run. Again, sacrificing another shuttle just to try and throw some units in his main, just to try and distract C a little bit. And he's going around picking off the turrets so he can try and do more. But really, I mean, what you really want to clear up space so that you can get in there and use your reavers on what, like 2 SCVs in the future or something like that. This doesn't seem worth it at this point. He should be trying to harass some of the side bases, trying to kill some SCVs off, trying to, if he could go around and somehow storm drop all of C's bases right in a row with a super speed shuttle full of super Templar, then he might be able to somehow come back in this game. But it's just not working there. Anyway, oh no, he must have told someone to build a Nexus and then they didn't, and he sent the probes anyway. And this could be tragic if those probes run back across the battlefield to try and find a Nexus to deposit their stashes with. But Cal putting up a really good fight. This is the map that basically I think lost him the series against 4GG in the last MSL was this map, where it was just 4GG had too many choke points to defend, and just too narrow of passages and ridges and everything. And Cal, even though he fought really well in that game, he just was not able to take out 4GG in that game, and he ended up losing the series, obviously 3-2. And I think that was the map that did him in. Obviously on Coliseum, he'd lost that last game there, and that was there was something to that as well. But yeah, that's the game that I think he should have won. That he played well in, and it was just the map and luck that he lost the game because of. So anyway, but Cal is going to go down. This is basically his last mining base here. So he's going to lose it here in just a second. I don't think there's anything he has to break this defense. I mean, there's that little bridge and everything, and those bridges are what I'm talking about. So GG coming from Cal finally. Let's go check out Game 7. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Game 7. This is for all the cookies in the cookie jar. This is for all of the peanut butter in the one of those peanut butter and jelly combo jars. And actually, I don't even know if they have all those. If they have those in a lot of places, they're really cool. It's like peanut butter and jelly in like stripes in the vertically in the jar. So if you want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you only have to just dip your knife in one thing and just fork it on there, or knife it on there rather, and spread it out. In any case, I was talking in one of the previous games, I was talking about how STX had some other players that I knew were decent that I couldn't think of. And we are now seeing one of those players right now. This is C, who won the last game against Cal, versus Calm. He's the one I couldn't think of. But I like Calm. It's funny because Calm, his name is Calm, but if you ever look at him, he always looks like he's agitated or surprised or something like that. He always looks, and especially once he gets playing, watch, if they show his face, his eyes will be kind of like wide open. He'll be like, ah, that's what he does. So anyway, Calm though, a pretty strong Zerg player. He's kind of one of those players that depends on the day. I've seen him play really well on a given day, and on some days you're like, wait, why is this guy on the A team? Mr. T wouldn't hang out with this kind of guy. So yeah, this match is going to be very strongly dependent on how Calm decides to play. C is pretty consistent in general. He never plays really crappy. He's pretty consistent, and I guess he's almost. I'll just leave it at that. He's very consistent, and again, especially in maybe this isn't an individual league; it's still a team league. So, but maybe it's a matter of pressure. Maybe when there's a lot of pressure on, he can't perform under pressure, so maybe Game 7 for the whole kit and caboodle, C might choke, but I doubt it because he's been in ace matches before, which were much more important than this silly STX Cup. Not silly, I'm sorry. No offense to the Cup. No offense to the STX Masters, what have you. Anyway, so yes, this is on Blue Storm. Calm is the Zerg here in the bottom left, in case you hadn't figured that one out. And C is the Terran in the top right. C is sending out a scout here. Pretty good thing to do on this map. See what the Zerg is doing. See what they're up to before you decide if you're going to go for a command center or if you need to, oh my god, oh crap, I need to go build a bunker or something like that. So we got a pull down now for Calm. It looks like he's going to go for some kind of a quick lings perhaps, since he's got his extractor down already. He may be planning on going for a quick spire. I mean, if you're going for a quick spire, you might as well get your quick lings out. But his overall intention may be to go for a quick spire, and the lings may just be incidental. But we got C. It looks like he's going to go straight for that command center. Wow, straight for the command center. That makes perfect sense, actually. I mean, he scouts out. He sees that the Zerg has gone for the 12 hatch build and getting the pool later, so he knows he has a little bit of leeway. He's going to have to start producing forces here pretty quick, though, and that's what he's starting to do off of one barracks. He's probably going to need to get another barracks at least, though. But in the meantime, C going for a very, very good economy build. He hasn't had to stop producing SCVs at any point. He's just kept producing them throughout the course of all this. He may have had to pause for a moment to build his command center theoretically, but I don't think so. And now he's putting out some Marines here and getting another barracks up. Pretty normal, I guess, considering. And that's kind of weird that Columnus decided to put his lair at his expansion there. Sometimes players will do that just to avoid their lair getting scouted, and so the other player won't have an exact timing because they won't know exactly when the lair went down, and so he may have done that because the SCV was in his main, but he must have known that the SCV was probably going to spot that lair at some point. And so, it didn't do a lot of good. SCV is still alive here. Some Zerglings coming in, and actually C not really prepared for it, but Calm doesn't have speed upgrade, fortunately for C, and he's not going to be able to run by or anything like that. The Marines have been drawn out of the bunker, though. Whoa, run back. Okay. Oh, the Zerglings come in from the other side, and they're also just running by and getting killed. That's cool. That's cool, too. It looks like Calm is just trying to mess around here, trying to score. Oh, speed is upgraded. Sorry, I couldn't say that for some reason. Speed upgrade has been completed, and he could have tried to do a run by or something like that, but I guess he figured he didn't have enough Zerglings left, and that was a little bit silly to begin with, to run in there and just dodge around like that and not even attack the Marines, or he could have theoretically even taken down that bunker with the lings that he had before. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but now these lings are just going to be a warning force. They're not going to be able to do much damage to those Marines. So he's going to probably keep them outside of his base. See if Calm building a hatchery at 12 o'clock there. That is interesting. It's kind of a hidden base basically. It's he's going to have to bet that C does not see it. Because it's going to be really difficult for him to defend that base with all of his forces coming from the opposite side of the map, basically. On the other hand, it is a good spot, though, if he's going to go into a Mutalisk Harass. It's a very good spot to reinforce from. If he's got Mutalisks coming in from that close, then it'll be a lot easier for him to back up his forces and that sort of thing. Anyway, what was I going to say before? I don't know what I was going to say before. Anyway, a couple of Zerglings sneaking in. That's a really, really good tactic, actually, to sneak in Zerglings and try and kill off turrets and things like that, especially just before your Mutalisks come in, which they will actually be in just a moment. Actually, Mutalisks are going to be popping any second now, and he doesn't really have any turrets up. He's only got one turret building behind his natural. This could be bad for C. The Mutalisks are en route. It's only going to take him a moment to clump them up, and those Zerglings may have delayed those turrets just long enough. It looks like one turret's going to be up, but not the rest, and the Mutalisks are, he's going to take a second for him to group up, so he's not going to be able to take advantage of that, of the lack of turrets at the natural, but there's no turrets in his main, and he gets caught building that turret there, and Calm is actually going to go all the way in. He's not going to fall back from this position. He's going straight in. He doesn't have a lot of Mutalisks there. As you can see, he's two-hitting the SCVs, so he can't have terrible amount of Mutalisks there, but he's doing a lot of damage anyways. He's able to kill off those Marines in one hit, and going for another SCV. Not losing a Mutalisk, and that's pretty critical. Now he's going to be able to regroup with a couple more Mutalisks if he needed. Yeah, he only had the 2 hatcheries, so that was only looked like 6 Mutalisks that he had there, so that's why he wasn't able to do a ton of damage. But now he's got a few more there. He's going to be able to one-hit SCVs if he needs to. But now C has managed to get more turrets up, and so it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to do any harassment here. Oh, nicely done, though. Using that ridge, the Marines, basically, they couldn't see the Mutalisks coming in. So C actually didn't know. Well, actually, he may have known from that turret there. May have had night vision, but the Marines could not fire at that Mutalisk, I don't think, because they were up on top of that ridge. I could be wrong about that. The turret may have spotted them, but I'm pretty sure that while they were above that ridge, the Marines couldn't see them. So he was able to actually get in there, and take a little pot shot at those Marines before they were even able to see. And the same thing with these turrets here, actually. If he can stay behind the ridge, the turrets are not, even though they're very good for vision and they can see cloaked units and what have you, they actually, the turrets even cannot see up a ridge. The ridges actually do block vision for units and buildings and that sort of thing. That's why oftentimes you'll see Terrans will float their factory or float something behind that natural just to spot for the turrets, so the turrets can get their the little missiles out faster. And anyway, finally losing a Mutalisk here. He's doing a good job of conserving his Mutalisks during this whole thing, doing a good job of keeping C back in his base as well. I'm curious to see what kind of tech Calm is working on in the background. He does have that third base going, and he's managed to keep C in his... Yeah, see, there's the factory there to spot so that he can attack a lot easier over that ridge. Nicely done by C. Hive already going down. Wow. Hive tech going down for Calm. If he can keep C pinned in his base until he gets Hive tech up, that could be pretty devastating. I have a feeling, though, C is going to be able to bust out here in just a moment. It's not going to be too much longer. He's going to have science vessels before I think any Hive tech comes out, and that's going to eliminate the Mutalisks. But it may have bought him enough time, though, theoretically. Losing another Mutalisk here, but again, 2 Mutalisk losses in exchange for he's killed, probably half a dozen SCVs at least 7 or 8 Marines over the course, a couple of turrets. So that's a pretty good exchange, actually, in the course of things. But yeah, C has managed to bulk up enough forces, though, that I think he's going to be able to move out. Those Mutalisks are not going to be able to hold him back in his base for much longer. It looks like C is, in fact, posturing to move out, in fact. Whoa, geez, picking off more Marines. Again, losing 1 more Mutalisk, but, not a terrible amount of... Whoa. +1 weapons on those Mutalisks. Okay, there we go. That's what I was going to say. That usually means that he's going to commit to air. He's getting the Greater Spire. Calm is getting a Greater Spire here. We could be seeing crazy Guardians going on, and if C only has a couple science vessels to deal with this, then it could be very, very damaging. Oh, nice! Sneaking some more Zerglings in. He's going to be able to take out a couple turrets. Very nicely done. And actually going with the Mutalisks to attack as well, along with the Lings doing a lot of damage. All the turrets getting picked off. Very nicely done. And now he's got 2 groups here. He's got one full group and a control group, and as well as backups here. And oh my god, all of the Marines getting slaughtered behind the mineral line. Absolute slaughter. C having a hard time getting his Marines back there to defend. And even though there is space back there now on version 1.2 of this map, it's still difficult for players to get back there. The Greater Spire is... I didn't catch that. They only showed it for a moment. They've got it selected. It may be up. If not, the Greater Spire is going to be up very, very soon. And oh, if he needs to... If he only has science vessels out, that's going to be bad. If he has like a Wraith or 2 out, that might help him out against these Guardians. I don't know if he has... There we go. There's some Guardians. And Calm has actually decided to keep some of his units not Guardians, though, and that is critical because then he's going to be able to actually combat the Wraiths if he puts any Raids out, or he's going to be able to combat the Science Vessels as well. So he's basically going to go in with just a few Guardians, and he's basically turned his hurt Guardians, or his hurt Mutalisks into Guardians. Actually, he's morphing more now, so I guess maybe he doesn't have enough gas. And he's shown his hand now. So now this is the critical moment. How is C going to react to this? Is C going to be able to get the air units out necessary to deal with this? Is he going to be able to lure those Guardians in far enough that he can actually get a surround with Marines? He has that Science Vessel out. He's got 2 more starports going on as well, so he may have been expecting this. That's maybe why he got those starports. But now he's got a ton of Guardians. He's got Scourges there as well as an Overlord in the area. Maybe if he can pick off the Overlord or something like that. Going in with Zerglings. Jeez, he's trying to power down. He's going just directly attacking the starport, but he realizes that he wasn't going to be able to do it with just those Lings. And with the repairing SCV going on behind there. But that was a good idea to try and power down that starport, basically killing a science vessel with Zerglings. That's not a bad trade at all. And more Guardians coming out. I think Calm needs to be a little bit more careful, though, about, clumping up his Guardians. Yeah, you need to get their Guardian out of there, dude. Get it out. Okay, he separates out the radiated Guardian, but he needs to be careful about having some anti-air to deal with this. Another Guardian gets irradiated. You need to get that out of there. Okay, he gets that one out of there as well, and those were his only 2 irradiates, basically. He has not had many Science Vessels out. They have not had time to build up energy. There come the Raids. There's Scourges in the area. Is he going to be able to do it? The Guardians just completely destroying, complete slaughter. Look at that puddle of blood. You can go swimming in that puddle of blood. There's just so many Marines and medics dying in that little area there, and he brings in some Mutalisks to deal with the raids. It looks like they're not cloaked, so that is the critical thing here. He does not have cloak, or if he does, it's just he did not have enough energy and all that stuff, and to devour in the area just in case they do have cloak. This is GG after 7 long games. C finally losing to Calm. Like I said, Calm, when he has a good day, he has a good day. And man, STX had to throw in everything they had. 4 incredibly good players at MBC Hero, and despite the fact that MBC didn't have what I would call the same level of players, I guess, they still managed to hold off for a long time. But STX taking the win. Good job for Calm. Very nicely done, taking out pretty much the strongest player on the enemy team in Game 7. So GG, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that whole set. That was a pretty good set in general. That was a really fun game. I always love to see Guardians come out. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that whole set. And again, I'm sorry I'm not doing more commentaries here, but I'm doing what I can, and we'll see if I have time for more in the up and coming future. I'm behind on my games too, so I haven't even watched a lot of the games from the last couple weeks, which is strange for me, because I usually watch basically every single televised game that there is. Not even on purpose. It's not like I try to. I just I eat a sandwich and I watch a StarCraft game. I shave and I watch a StarCraft game, and I eat some dinner and I watch a StarCraft game, and it ends up being all the games. But I haven't really gotten around to it. It's funny how I don't have as much to do now, but I'm not wasting as much time. Well, I am wasting as much time, but not on StarCraft, I guess. Anyway, okay, I'm going to stop rambling now. But again, thank you everyone for listening, and hope you guys enjoyed that set. Some pretty good games in general, so I definitely enjoyed that. And yep, stay tuned for more eventually, unless I get a job, in which case I won't have time for anything. All right, take care.